Hello, hello, everyone. Pop culture curator here. So good to see you all. I am so excited to be back. I know we missed our horror sci-fi stream the last week or two, I believe. And I feel really bad. I have to apologize for that, but we're back now in full swing, and we're gonna make it up to you. I think we have a really good, nice Hammer horror movie tonight, The Revenge of Frankenstein from 1958. Now, we watched the original Frankenstein movie a month before last, and we ended on a note where Frankenstein was headed to the guillotine. So, this is our direct sequel that takes place immediately following the end of that movie, which I like that. I always love when movies take place right after the end of the first one, like Halloween, for example, one of my favorite horror movies. I love how the sequel takes place immediately after the first movie. But I'm excited. I know you guys have heard me say it before, so I'm preaching to the choir. But I'm a big fan of the Hammer horror movies, and it's good to be getting back to this. I always love it as a staple. It's the old meat and potatoes of horror. I would take a Hammer horror movie over anything made these days, especially anything by Blumhouse. And first, I want to say hello to my fellow panelists. Um, Dennis Eden, I'll go with you first. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Oh, I'm doing very well, sir. Always happy to be here. Always happy to be here with you and our wonderful chat. And of course, with Mr. Gorilla up top there, being ever so silent because he's doing things right now.
I'm here.
Oh, well, I stand corrected. My apologies.
No, I do gotta go
Gorilla
to
is
the hair.
Gorilla. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that macro did just go off though.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And
I'm
how
still.
are you doing, Gorilla?
Oh, it's been kind of a long day, but nothing I can talk about on there.
I know it's hard to go to work and bust your butt for several hours, and then having to come onto a stream that's 2 or 3 hours long. So we will try to get through tonight relatively quickly and smoothly if we can. We'll do the best. I think we will.
All right.
And, is there anything any of you want to add before we say hello to the mighty chat?
Yeah. Hey, here's a trivia question for you. Since we were talking about the guillotines, when was the last person taken to the guillotine? Do you know?
In the 50s.
Nope. Close, but not. I believe it was
And I
1970. It was either 1974 or 1976, somewhere around that. I think it was in France too.
Yeah, I knew it was in France. I wasn't sure about the
Yeah,
year. I knew it was close. I just couldn't remember if it was that close
yeah,
or
yeah.
interesting.
It's kind of surprising because France has absolutely nothing in the history books. Absolutely nothing about with the use of guillotines. Absolutely nothing.
Mm-mm. No,
oh
sir. They certainly
right,
didn't invent him.
they loved the guillotines. Sometimes I wonder. I know this sounds kind of morbid, but I kind of wonder what it would have been like back then to actually see a live beheading. People actually used to. It was like a family event. They would actually take their kids to them.
Well, the way New York's going, you might be able to get your chance there with some of those people there.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes you wish they'd bring it back, right? Without saying any names
uh,
or
well,
anything
no, not
specific. Public
well,
execution. Yeah.
no, just hang around in the subway because they just had someone get. I think they just had someone that just the other day happened in the subway. So much for the National Guard helping them out.
I did not hear about that, and
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
crazy. Go ahead.
yeah,
Well,
yeah. Yeah, go
Fill
ahead,
us
Devin.
go
in,
ahead,
guy.
Gorilla.
Yeah, really, you got me all excited and worked up now. Tell me what's going on. What happened?
No. There's someone that I think there was someone that was actually beheaded in the subway, or the. I know there was a
Ooh.
shooting in the subway also.
Oh well, that's a common occurrence. But I
Yeah, I
don't know if
haven't
you guys
really.
are. Go ahead.
I'd have to look for the story here, but I'm gonna go check on my supper here.
Gorilla's having lasagna tonight for dinner, and I am jealous. I wish I could have him send me some over, but somehow I have a feeling it's not going to survive the trip from Minnesota all the way to Arizona. But God bless the man. He sounds like a wonderful cook.
Yeah, he sure does.
And yes, he does. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to read the chat. We're going to say hello to everybody. So good to see you all. I'm glad you could join us tonight. I know your time is very valuable, and I always appreciate it when you spend it with us. I think you'll be pleasantly pleased tonight. I think you'll enjoy the movie. It should be entertaining. It's not going to be. It's not really high on the high on the end. How am I trying to put this? It's since it's 1958. Don't expect a lot of gore and nudity and all that stuff, obviously, but expect a lot of class. Considering it's a Hammer horror movie, you know that the production values are going to be 100% spot on, and it's going to look amazing, and it's going to have the most beautiful women you can imagine. Of course, Poochie wants attention all of a sudden. Right on
Well,
cue,
of course. Well, and yeah, that's one of the things that I love about Hammer Horror is just like the cinematography. Like, even if the script is kind of bland or the story and pacing itself is kind of boring, you can always count on the cinematography. You can always count on the set pieces to be amazing. So you can always at least have that to look at. And of course, the soundscapes are very nice with that they do. Sometimes it can be pretty bombastic because they tend to lay on the music as the excitement for the scene.
That'll get the mood going, right? Exactly. And never a disappointment when it comes to acting and the quality of the acting department. That's another thing that just cannot be replicated these days, is the quality of the acting.
100%.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I absolutely love Peter Cushing, one of my absolute top favorite actors of all time. And he acted all the way up into the 1980s. It was a really tragedy when he passed away. And it's very ironic that his last movie was a comedy. But that makes me very happy because it was just so happened to be my favorite comedy of all time. So if you have not seen it, I recommend you see the movie Top Secret by the Zaz team.
I don't think you've ever mentioned it because I know about it. It's a mad, 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 mad world, but I've never heard of you mention, or maybe I've missed it. But cool, I'll have to check it out.
But he's not in Mad Mad World, which was 63, but he was definitely in Top Secret, which Gorilla did watch on one of his watch parties, if I remember correctly. Is that so, Gorilla?
Yeah, and I approved the movie for you.
That's right. So,
what's going on here? They have a joke.
Go ahead.
Yeah, they have a joke in there where they bring out the German Olympic team there.
Right, the East Women's German Olympic team, right? Swim team.
Yeah, so too. And they're always known for being more masculine there, the German girls. So they brought a bunch of men in bikinis out. I was like, oh, look, a modern day Olympic team.
Oh, God.
Which is hilarious. Yeah, it's hilarious because that movie was made in the 80s, but it actually is very applicable now. So, yeah, that scene is even funnier now than it was then. I could watch that movie, I'm not kidding, 100 times and never get tired of it. I love the Zaz team, everything they did. The airplane movies. I love the Top Secret. I love the Naked Gun movies. I mean, you don't get good comedy like that anymore, that's for sure.
True. One thing that I did want to mention about, because you mentioned beautiful actresses, and of course, we have Eunice Gayson in this role. And she's incredible. She's fantastic. She's very sympathetic. She's a wonderful character. But one little thing about her is she was in a couple of the Bond films, too. Dr. No and From Russia with Love. And is considered to be the first Bond girl.
Oh, thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that. Very cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, dude, of course. I was so shocked when I saw that. I was just like, oh, that's cool. That's really neat. But should we get with the chat and see all of those people down there?
Absolutely. Hello to the chat. And Nemesis, would you like to read this for me?
I sure would. Nemesis of Eden says, hail, you beautiful beings. I hope you're all doing well tonight.
Exactly. I responded likewise by saying, hello, guys. Gorilla, would you like to read this?
Uh, Resolute Germ Raid. We got
Resolute German. I guess Resolute just finished the stream.
Yep,
Oh, pooch.
yep. We're watching Andromeda there, and me and Sci-Fi Sit Dad came over from there.
Very cool. I love the movie The Andromeda Strain, but have not seen Andromeda.
Yeah, it's an alright show. It's a Gene Roddenberry production.
Yes, I'm well aware of it. PvP has mentioned it on several occasions.
Yeah.
And Edge of Time greetings from the edge of the grave. Greetings, Edge of Time. So good to see you. Glad you could be here. And Cody Guy says hello, and he's waving. Hello, Cody Guy. Hello, hello. Hope you're staying warm and having a great evening.
Hey, it's the band of many words, Cody Guy. Welcome, welcome. And hey, Edge of Time.
Hey, Edge of Time. Hey, Cody Guy.
Cody Guy is a man of many words.
Yeah. And hey, Brad Wolf. I haven't seen you in a month of Sundays. And hey, Oler Greg.
And Sci-Fi Sit Dad says, Pop Culture Curator, where's the StreamYard link? We usually have a closed panel for our horror. Do we usually have a closed panel? By the way, guys, I had to, and I apologize. I'm not the type to be a drug addict, but I had to take my pain pills tonight just before the stream. So my mind might be a little loopy. But our horror stream, Sit Dan, if you have seen this movie recently, let me know and I'll send you the link on Twitter. I'm sorry, I was just getting everything ready at the last minute. Nothing intentional,
good, buddy.
nothing personal there, Dan.
Yeah.
But let me know if you've seen this recently, Dan, and I will send you a link. And hello, Brad Wolf 07. Hi, last person in the 1970s Star Wars was out.
Yes, in reference to the guillotine. Oh, that was in reference to the last guillotine execution. Cool. Yeah.
So anything Star Wars was out at the theaters.
Very cool. So when Star Wars was out, the last had rolled.
Yeah, so it had to have been 76 then, I believe.
Well, Star Wars was 77.
And hello, Brad Wolf.
I was wrong. It wasn't the 70s. I know that for sure. I must have been off by a year.
And you know what that means, too? If it was the 70s, that means there's video footage of it somewhere. Now, we won't be able to find it on YouTube, but if it was the 70s, you can guarantee somebody filmed it.
You would think.
Right. It's just something like that's going to be really hard to find. I'm not saying I'd watch it, but I don't think it'd be easy to come across. And Brad Wolf says it was one of those morbid facts compilation that came out occasionally. Yeah, back in the early 2000s, I bought a CD. It's a video. It was a CD compact disc, but it had videos on it, and it was things like that. It was people offing themselves, morbid accidents, things like that. So, kind of like I don't know if you guys ever heard of Faces of Death. It was like a modern day retelling of a version of Faces of Death.
Interesting. It's saying September 10th, 1977.
Okay, so I was off a year.
Oh, just in time for school.
Yeah.
And Nemesis, would you like to read this to us?
Oh, I most certainly will again. Hey, and Nemesis of Eden says, "Hail, you beautiful beings. I hope you're all having a great night tonight."
Mm-hmm. I love your attitude. Nemesis of Eden's an excellent person.
Oh,
hello, Ola Greg. Good to see you, Ola Greg. Hope you are doing well. Hey. And I'm glad you're here. Hey there, Pop, says Ola Greg. And Ola Greg says, Hammer Horror rocks. And Sci-Fi Dan says, hello there, Brad Wolf 07. It has been a long time since we last meet. And Brad Wolf says, hi there. Yeah, it has. Well, I'm glad you guys are here. Brad Wolf says, top secret. Been years since I've watched that gem. It is, I know on my Tuesday nights we have horror sci-fi, but I get the urge and the itch sometime. I wish I could show some comedies because I love comedy. But I know it's very subjective. So there may be something that I consider very funny that somebody else may not. So I'll be very careful in that department when it comes to showing comedies. Well, Greg says top secret Cold War comedy. Yes, you got your Cold War comedy and mixed with your Elvis. And then Time says
I mean,
pork rinds and yogurt. Pork rinds and yogurt. That's an interesting combination. I like both of them separately. I've never thought about having the two together.
Oh, I don't need that when I'm trying to eat my food here.
You guys know what pork rinds are, right?
yeah. Yeah.
It's the scraps of pork that that nobody else wants that they turn into like a chip or something.
Right, like bacon. It's like they deep fry the skin. But I
Oh,
had excuse me, when I was a teacher, I had a staff member, really nice lady. She was Hispanic. And she told me, she said, you need to try pork rinds with spaghetti sauce. So in other words, you make your spaghetti sauce like you're going to for spaghetti. So you've got your sauce, you've got your hamburger meat, onions, peppers, whatever you do. Except instead of noodles, you put it on pork rinds. And I thought, well, that's an interesting idea. And apparently it's an old Mexican tradition. I tried it. It was actually pretty good. So if you guys are into that sort of thing, I recommend to try it at least once. Nemesis of Eden, would you read this for me?
Certainly. Nemesis of Eden says, hail at Edge of Time, Brad Wolf 07, Cody Guy, Sci-Fi Sit Then, Euler Greg, I hope you were doing well.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Nemesis. And Brad Wolf says, I liked Andromeda, but yeah, it lost quality by the end. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. And you see, just like Game of Thrones, we've all heard about what happened with that fiasco. And I'm really happy that I spared myself the pain. I would hate to get into something that's several seasons only to be disappointed and let down at the end.
well,
So I think I'll skip that for now.
the original series did that with Way to Eden and that one where with the crazy lady. The one that
Oh, you talking about Janice Lester?
yeah,
Right.
or
That one should be coming up. Yeah, that one should be coming up here pretty soon here since Jill's wrapping up the end of the TOS season 3, right?
Yeah, or he had like Spock's brain and all that. So the TOS did kind of go out on a little bit of not nearly as bad as like Babylon 5 went out on a whimper, but it did go out a little bit on a whimper. There were some of these episodes.
Right. Unfortunately, the good thing is it wasn't all of the episodes. There were a few good ones in season 3, but yes, there were some stinkers. And I think what you're talking about is Turnabout Intruder.
Yep,
one
that's
where,
it. That's it.
The woman replaces Kirk's body.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get to see the end of her stream this morning. Which one is next week? Did she say?
It's the one with the guy has mental powers, and I'll look it up here.
Okay.
Mental powers. How fascinating.
Probably like telekinesis
Anyways.
or something like that, I imagine. And Gorilla, would you like to read this?
I gotta get back to that screen here. And Brad says hi,
Well, I'll read it.
Nemesis.
Hi, Brad Wolf. Good to see you, buddy.
Stream Elements is working. Look, everybody, as we live and breathe, Stream Elements is actually working. I was wondering
Hi,
about
Stream
that
Elements.
because I saw that. Yeah, hail Stream Elements. Just tell me where to go and where to stick it. Yeah, I noticed on Jill's stream that it was working again, so I'm glad it came back. I guess they fixed whatever the issue was. Sci-fi Sit Down says pop culture. I have it's just horror panels in use to be links in YouTube chat. Wait, did I read that right? Let me see. Pop culture curator. I have it's just horror panels in use to be links in YouTube chat. I'm not really sure what that means, but does that mean you've seen it recently? Sorry, Suzanne.
Yeah.
And hello, Suzanne. Suzanne Eckstein, good to see you. Hope you're doing well, staying warm.
Yeah. Hey, Suzanne and Pop, I think it is Requiem of Methuselah.
Oh, Methuselah. Yeah, that's it. Requiem for
Methuselah.
Methuselah. Thank you.
Hi, Suzanne. Thank you. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
wonderful as well. I tried typing in the chat, but my phone keeps freezing. So,
yeah. And hey,
Oh, I'm
Scurvy.
sorry to hear
And hey,
that.
Hakeem. Yeah, hey, Scurvy. Hey, Hakeem. I'll be back.
And Suzanne's being very sweet tonight. She says, hello, Pop and gorgeous nemesis. Yes, he is. Lemon Pie says, nemesis. And Lemon Pie says, nemesis. And I think that is a
water pistol. He got
uh,
me. You got me, Lemon.
water
You got me
pistol.
good.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Suzanne says, Lemon Pie, hiya, LOL. And Hakeem, hello, Hakeem. Welcome, welcome. So good to see you again. Hello, Pop, Gorilla, Nemesis. And then Sabine says,
Hey,
you got me,
Hakeem.
Lemon. That's right. Howdy, fruitcake, says Lemon Pie. And Hakeem says, hey, lemons. And Suzanne says, Hakeem, hello. And then Sabine says, blah.
Blah. You got me. Death sign. In response to Lemon.
Yeah, I know you gotta go. Oh. No, you gotta be
I'm
like
sorry,
this.
my eyes are.
Right? I'm sorry, my death rattle wasn't good. I was exhaling some smoke.
Yeah, that sounds
Came
like
on
a
your death
personal
rattle.
problem. It sounds like a personal problem.
Oh, it certainly
make
is a
sure
personal
that-
problem.
I'll make sure that when it's time for me to kick the bucket, I'll practice my death rattle so I get it just right.
Dude, amazing.
And Suzanne Eckstein says, Hola, Greg, hello. And Hakeem says, evening, Suzanne. And Suzanne says, edge of time, hello. And hey, Suzanne says, Hola, Greg. Lemon Pie says, did I go too soon after coming in? Should there be a minimum time after initial announcement of my presence to draw?
No, Lemon, you got me.
No,
Yeah.
Scurvy, you're Garrick there. You shoot the man in the back because it's the safest way.
That's right.
Right.
100%. Hey, man, I was like looking when the last guillotine death was, and Lemon's all like, boom. And I'm like, oh, well, that's fair.
And then Sabine says, Hail there, I hope you are doing wonderful, Suzanne. And Hakeem says, hey, edge of time. And Lemon Pie says,
Hakeem.
hey, speaking of Mexican food, I bought a raw jalapeno to nosh on tonight. Ooh, beware, those can be hot. Just don't touch your eyes with your fingers. I love jalapenos. Oh my God, my goodness. Mexican food in general, I could eat it every night. I would be so fat. Hakeem says, hi, Euler, Brad, and Dan. And Brad Wolf says, my family loves pork rinds. They come in different flavors. Yes, they do. I don't particularly care for them, but I have nothing against them. I don't know if you guys have ever seen, but if you go to a Mexican grocery store, they have these big bags of pork rinds. I mean, they're like as big as my arm. They have some huge pork rinds. You have to break it over your knee, but they're delicious. I would have to say they're my favorite potato chip. And I saw once a study where they said they're actually healthy for you, and they're actually healthier for you than a regular potato chip. And their stream elements reminded me that they call me Nobody's channel. Well, I haven't seen They Call Me Nobody in a while. I wonder how he's doing. And Brad Wolf says, hi, Hakeem. And Suzanne says, Brad Wolf, hello. Brad Wolf says, hi, Suzanne. Voice Stream Elements is in full force tonight. I'm glad to see that. There's a link for Anti Derivative Jill's channel. Everybody check it out. She has some amazing content on there. Lemon Pie says, mantle powers, good at decorating? Oh, yeah, possibly. That's a good idea. And Edge of Time says, I like fried oyster crackers as a base for spaghetti. Alton Brown recipe. I imagine pork rinds would be good. And that is interesting. I'm a big, big, big fan of Alton Brown. I used to watch his Good Eats show on the what was it? Food Channel, I think is what it was called. Back when they actually had good shows. And I loved Alton Brown. He's like a cook slash scientist where he breaks it down to the scientific
Oh,
level when he's cooking, and it's amazing. He had a recipe. I know this is off topic. I'll make it fast, but he had a recipe where he cooked a turkey at 500 degrees, and I tried it, and it was the best I had ever had. So we always trust Alton Brown.
interesting. Good to
Gorilla,
know.
hello. Yeah, because most people, and including myself, had always cooked them low and slow, as they say when you cook a turkey. But no, this sucker was 500 degrees. And I cooked, I mean, it was like a 15-pound turkey. And I cooked it like in an hour and a half. It was amazing. And Suzanne
Awesome.
says, Gorilla, hello. And Brad Wolf says, I'll watch the stream while I can have. Well, I can. I have to start my shift in a few minutes. Been dealing with some back issues. So it has been a bit rough. I understand, Brad
Oh,
Wolf. That's what I've been going through right now is many back issues. That's why I took the painkillers right before the stream.
I feel you, Brad Wolf.
I didn't take
I've
too
got a bad
many.
back too. So
Wow, it sounds like all of us. I'm
we're all
sorry I
broken.
can't help you guys out and give you guys. Yeah, I wish I could give you guys one of my painkillers.
Oh,
I
I got my
have,
own, buddy, but thank you. I wish I could give you some of my painkillers.
yeah, I'd rather have your painkillers than mine. Mine aren't the fun kind. I mean, they'll do the job, but they're not the fun kind. I'll put it that way. Sci-Fi Nation. I'm sorry, Sci-Fi Sit Dance is pop culture critic. Yes, I have. There, that's all I need to know. And I apologize for the delay. Sit Dan, give me a second here.
You need to be nice this time, Sith Dan. If you come across and attack people like you did with PvP on Saturday's stream, we're gonna boot you.
Everybody be nice.
Yes.
Okay. Team John Carter. Where are you? Wait a minute. Bear with me, guys. Sci-Fi Sit Dan, remind me on Twitter. Is your name the same? Is it Sci-Fi Sit Dan or is it something different? I'm looking for it. Cam Basil Hungry. There's Bird of Prey, Mr. CCTV, Jedi Bill, Scogly. Jedi Bill, what's he doing on there? I don't know. Oh well, I'll drop the. I'm gonna drop the link in the public chat. I trust you guys, so I'm not really worried about that too badly. And besides, only that's the best way to be fair with everybody. So without further ado, let me do that. So Dan, I'm gonna post it in the public chat, sir. And there it is. Okay, so Edge of Time says, greetings all, and greetings Edge of Time. And Brad Wolf says, how are you, Sit Dan? And here's Sit Dan so he can answer that question. How are you, Sit Dan?
I'm well. Still alive and kicking.
Well, I am glad to hear it. Oops. There we go. Hello, Daniel's Hot Topics. Good to see you.
Hi, Pop. How you doing?
Yeah.
I am doing great as long as I'm able to be on a stream without too much pain and my voice is strong enough. I am happy. I can't complain.
I never saw this movie before.
What's that?
I've never seen this movie before.
So not to be that guy, Dan, but why are you up here, buddy?
What? I just thought that I could watch it with you guys.
We're not watching it. We're reviewing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's not a watch party, buddy.
Yeah. That's why I asked when you asked to come up on the panel. That's why I asked you if you'd watched it recently.
Oh, okay.
It isn't really. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I'll see you later.
You're welcome to stay in the chat, buddy. It's all good. This is nothing personal. We just want you to have watched the movie, so you can contribute.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That way we don't have to. Right, I mean, we do that also because we're assuming that whoever's on the panel has already seen it. so we don't have to explain what's going on. Otherwise, they're going to be like, "What happened here? What's going on?"
Yeah, I get
And
it.
if you have not seen it, I recommend you watch it if you haven't seen it. We do have a
Mhm.
link in my on my channel in the community tab. So I hope we
Right.
don't give away too much on the spoilers. I know it's 1958, but I don't want to ruin it for you guys. And Brad Wolf says hi, Edge. And Suzanne Eckstein says, "Pop, it was a typo. LOL. I meant to type gorilla. Sorry, but hey, it worked out good. Well, that's totally fine, Suzanne. Yeah, and it worked out anyway. Suzanne Eckstein says, sit, Dan. Hello.
Hello, Suzanne.
And don't want to. Sci-fi sit, Dan says, Brad Wolf just trying to expand my YouTube activities and uploading new video each week. Very cool. And Daniel's Hot Topic says, The Revenge of Frankenstein. Never seen it before. Is it a sequel to Boris Karloff Frankenstein? No, it is not. Um,
Peter
Hammer
Cushing.
movies have
It's
their
a
own
sequel
little.
to the. Yeah. Sorry, Bob.
Oh no, it's okay. Hammer. I was just gonna say Hammer horror had their own. I guess you could say universe, horror monster universe going on years before MCU and all this other stuff. So this is a sequel to the Frankenstein movie we watched about a month and a half ago, and they actually made several of them that follow along. And I'm hoping that we can cover them all eventually. We're covering the Hammer Dracula series with with Christopher Lee, as well as the Hammer Frankenstein series with Peter Cushing. Hopefully that makes sense. But I do love the Boris Karloff Frankenstein, by the way. I know I've been saying it, but I do need to get in there, and we need to cover all of those classic Universal movies: The Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon. All those are killer movies, and I want to definitely cover those. Daniel's
Yeah,
on
dude, I
topic
have it
says,
as a four pack.
I know, aren't they amazing?
So
And I'm glad the fact the Universal keeps coming out and they keep remastering it with 4K and Blu-ray and all that. That is amazing. But it's funny because Universal still keeps going back to that well and dipping into those movies because they know they make money, but they seem to be unable and incapable of making new movies that are any good. Universal, they tried to make new Frankenstein movies that stunk. They tried to make new vampire movies that stunk. So I don't know. I just don't think they're capable of doing it anymore, which is really sad.
they
But
just
as
need the
long as
right
they don't
director.
ruin the original,
Exactly.
right director, right?
Exactly.
Yes, the right director, the right writer, and not go with his modern audience garbage. We want to see the
Nope, gotta
story as it was written.
make it timeless.
Exactly. Which the stuff these days is not. And a good example is last year's uh, last Voyage of the Dimeter. Oh, horrible movie! My God, what a terrible movie! I definitely do not recommend that one. And I'm cautious, nervous about the Robert Eggers remake of Dracula. I've got a lot of faith in him, and if anybody's going to remake Nosferatu, then it's him. So got my fingers crossed. Unfortunately, that won't be out until Christmas, and I hope I'm still around to see it.
Me too. I'm
I'm so
cautiously
excited.
optimistic. Same with. Oh, sorry, Bob. Just same with that. I'm cautiously optimistic to get to Daniel's Hot Topics thing here for X-Men 97 tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm hoping it's going to be good.
Well,
Yeah, I didn't realize it was tomorrow.
well, judging by all the news around it, um, call me a pessimist with somewhat an optimistic slant to it, but it's probably gonna be bad or mediocre at best. The show is.
Well, we've heard what's been going on, and they fired the showrunner. That they're going back and completely rewriting season two, and that's never a good sign, right? And of course, they're making sure to focus on making some of their characters gay. So I don't know. The more I hear about it, the less enthusiastic I am.
Oh,
But
for
I'm
sure.
still gonna
But
hold
I
it.
mean, exactly.
Go ahead.
Fingers crossed. Who knows? Maybe it's all bait and switch.
Now, do you guys know? Are they gonna like release the whole season at once, or are they gonna do like one episode a week?
Honestly, I
'Cause I
have
don't
no
know.
idea.
Daniel will have to let us know in the chat. And carrying on, because we're like almost 40 minutes in and no review of the movie.
Right. It's a good movie. There you go. No, sorry, just kidding.
Yeah,
Yes,
there you go. Perfect.
here we go. Suzanne Exine says, Daniel, hello. And Brad Wolf says, I love jalapenos. Try bacon wrapped jalapenos. Delicious. Yes, they are.
Sounds
And
amazing.
yeah, one of my biggest regrets in life was not to marry a Mexican woman. I always wanted to. Daniel's Hot Topics says, Suzanne Exine, hello, Suzanne. Edge of Times says, fun fact. No oil is required to cook pork rinds because they come with their own fat. That is true, and that sounds delicious. That's what I need is a good, healthy appetite so I can eat tonight. Limbs of Eden, no! The sequel to The Curse of Frankenstein with Peter Cushing at Daniel's Hot Topics. And Akeem says, hello, Daniel. And I'm going to skip the stream elements. Forgive me, stream elements. Don't go on strike again. Lemon Pie says, no lotto ticket tonight since I won the draw. How do you like them apples? Oh, we did? Well, very cool. Congratulations. Lemon Serene
On
says,
me.
I like my apples in a crisp lemon. That's a different way of having it. Lemon Pie, I hope Stone Racket doesn't get mad if I use his phrase. No, I'm sure he'll be fine. And Stone Racket will not be here tonight. He's not a fan of Hammer horror. He's not a fan of horror in general, but he's not a fan of Hammer horror. Sci-fi
That's
sits
fine.
and says pop culture, same name. Yeah, it's totally
On,
fine.
on YouTube it is. I mean, on Twitter it is. My same handle as my YouTube channel.
Well, I need to find out what's going on. Have I messaged you before on Twitter? Have we ever messaged back and forth?
I don't think so because Twitter has been somewhat punishing me on my Twitch channel, my Twitter
Oh.
thing. Not sure why though.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I will tonight after the stream. I'll go in and see if I can get that issue corrected, and that way you can be part of our stream group. Sorry, I stepped away for a minute. Is PvP okay? Says Suzanne. As far as I know, he hasn't been here yet tonight. And then Sabine says if he was here, he would be allowed to get mad. LOL at Lemon. And I think
In regards to Stone Racket.
Yeah, PvP usually comes in about an hour late on these horror streams. And there's me. I dropped a link. That's for the StreamYard. And that was for Sci-Fi Sit Dan. Lemon Pie says, Dan and Daniel, how do you like them apples? I love them apples. And Edge of Time says, I cooked the flower pot turkey, if that's the same thing. Turned out excellent. Alton Brown seemed like the preparation took several days with defrost and brine. Yeah, that is part of the recipe. I remember that. I do remember brining the turkey in ice water with real maple syrup. Oh, it was amazing. And Suzanne says, it was nice hearing you, Dan. Yes. Suzanne says, yep, because Nemesis is a sweetie. Yes, he is.
I try to be.
And Nemesis drops the link here to Daniel's Hot Topics. And you are successful, sir. And there's a couple of links here. Boy, yeah, Stream Elements is back in full force. That's good to see. And Suzanne drops a link here. Check out Nemesis if you haven't already done so. Yes, everybody. And Nemesis of Eden says, thank you. You rock, Suzanne. And Brad Wolf says, example. Yes, absolutely. Example of bad modern monster movies. I Am Frankenstein. Plenty of talented actors, but badly written and poorly directed. And I don't think I've seen that. So I'm glad I've been spared the heartache of that. Nemesis means that good acting can only do so much for a movie. Yes, that is true. And Brad Wolf says exactly Nemesis. And Nemesis says, I hope you're doing well, Hakeem. And Suzanne says, I like salty my apples. That's a new one. I haven't tried that one.
Ooh, interesting.
And yeah, it sounds interesting. Especially like my favorite apple is the Granny Smith, and that sounds like it might be really good on a Granny Smith apple. And the
Ooh,
key says,
yeah,
Mr.
totally.
Bean, thanks for asking, buddy. I'm good. I hope you are doing well too. There he is.
I am
There's the
doing
man
well,
of the hour.
Hakeem.
Yeah, Pleasant Valley Pickers, CA. My ears were burning. Good to see
Thank you for
PvP.
asking.
Hope you're doing well.
Hey, PvP,
Suzanne
good to
says,
see you, man.
PvP, hello, dear, says Suzanne.
Yeah.
And Brad
Oh.
Wolf says, hi, PvP, how are you?
Hey,
And
PvP.
PvP says,
Hey,
not
Hi, guys.
seeing the link.
hey, PvP. The reason
Yeah,
your
I
ears
just-
are
I guess
burning-
you saw the link.
I just found it, of course.
PvP. The reason
Yo.
your ears are burning is because you didn't see me have hold the lighter underneath them.
You were holding a lighter?
Huh.
You got a voodoo doll of me, eh, Gorilla?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I better be polite to Gorilla from now on. Though I usually am anyway.
And PvP says, hi, Suzanne, sweetie. And looks like we're almost there, guys. Almost made it. PvP says, not bad, Brad Wolf. How are you? And Brad Wolf says, mostly okay, but could be better. And Akeem says, hey, PvP. And Suzanne says, it makes them so juicy. That makes sense. It would extract juice. She's talking about the salt. Lemon Pie says, I meant I won the water pistol draw, not the lotto. Oh, okay. Yeah, the lotto would be more fun, wouldn't it? All right, let me label this here where we leave off on that.
Oh,
And without further ado, let's get started on the movie.
yeah. And speaking of lotto, that reminds me, I have to go buy a lottery ticket tomorrow.
Uh-oh. I think I know what happened then.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Was that on today's stream?
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
Well, I'm not surprised. The way of Eden, yeah. I'm not surprised that it provoked her from into saying some naughty words.
Yeah, I think it probably provoked a few people other than Joe.
And here we have our opening. And we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have the direct ending from the last movie. So we have Better than Frankenstein on his way to the guillotine, starring the amazing Peter Cushing. And don't start giving me problems, VLC. I'm going to have to find a different video player if this thing keeps acting up like it's doing.
That's why I go straight from the source, straight from my source.
Well, what's funny is usually I don't have any problems with VLC. Like when I watched this here last week, no issues. But then when we're doing the actual stream, that's when it starts teasing me and doing weird, crazy stuff.
Do you think it's possible it could be something to do with StreamYard's affecting it, Pop? Like, I know that's a crazy thought, but, just wondering.
It is very possible. It is very possible.
Well, the question is, can your computer handle it like it used to, or not really?
It used to be able with no problem. Directed by the amazing Terrence Fisher. But see, and like Gorilla, when he does his, he'll do it from like Soap Today or whatever the website is, which is fine. It's just that the reason why I like to do it from the movie itself is that I can control the frames a little bit better. I can control, well, I want to skip by 2 frames. I want to skip by 5 frames. I want to skip by 10 frames. And you don't really have that much freedom when you're using a website. In the year 1860, Better than Frankenstein was condemned to death for the brutal murders committed by the monster he had created.
In some countries, is it
whole
pronounced?
concept.
In some countries, is it pronounced Baron Frankenstein or Frankenstein?
I believe
Definitely
Steen is the
Frankenstein.
correct pronunciation, though, from the book.
No, it's Stein from The only way it'd be a Steen if it was Jewish. If he was Jewish, it'd be Stein. Otherwise,
Interesting.
if he was Jewish, it'd be Steen.
Never thought of that angle.
If I'm wrong on this, Suzanne can correct me on this.
Because there have been different ways to pronounce the last name. That's why it's in different versions to say it.
Well, what threw it off is when Young Frankenstein came out. That's when it really threw it off, and a lot of people started mispronouncing it after that because of the joke.
I say Frankenstein.
Didn't they pronounce it Frankenstein or some crazy pronunciation in some of these Hammer movies, though? Yeah.
Oh, and most of them, because that's how it's spelled.
Oh, Frankenstein.
Right. Stein.
Right. So,
Stein.
So when you hear,
well, I guess that's the accent. Right. Sorry, not how it's spelled. My apologies, PvP.
When you hear Peter Cushing's character pronouncing it, he says Frankenstein with a sh sound.
It sounds more German than the way he says it. Then.
Yes, because he's British, right? But I think the character is supposed to be German.
Maybe he was just, over accentuating the sound of the name to sound more German in character, perhaps.
I love this hard edit too. Let me go back here a frame.
Ooh.
But as the guillotine drops, we get a hard edit of a woman screaming and laughing. Right there as he set down the goblets in the pub.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering about what happened in that scene, because we didn't actually see, what actually happened, because it was all off camera, right?
No,
it tells later on in the movie.
It was off camera.
Mm-hmm. Isn't also inferred if you're actually intelligent enough to figure it out. If Frankenstein paid off the people around him, or they were his loyal servants in the last movie. And they replaced it.
It does come up later in the movie, that's right. But I think, I don't know. Should I give a spoiler or just wait? Maybe I should wait.
Just wait. Hold on to it, PvP.
I'll wait.
And I have to bring up, does anybody recognize the gentleman on the left from anything?
The one with the cap?
Correct.
Kind of hard to see his face at this angle.
Let's see if I can get a good shot.
Oh, there you go. Nothing springing to mind, for me at least.
He played Curator Potts, the father of the inventor Dick Van Dyke's character in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Okay.
Well, that's a movie
Deep
I'm not
cut.
overly familiar with, so that's probably why I drew a blank.
So you guys haven't seen it, huh? He's the one that he's got that little.
Oh, I've seen it.
And
I have actually not seen
he gets
it.
inside. Yeah, he gets inside that little shack, and the hook on the balloon comes and picks it up and takes him away because they think that he's the Dick Van Dyke character.
Well, but
he's actually the father.
I did not recognize him without all his gray hair in the bald spot.
Yeah, you're right. The makeup and the hat is different.
Hey, have a good night, Brad
Here's
Wolf.
where we get where they're showing them as grave diggers.
Yeah, take care, Brad Wolf. Have a good one, bud.
See you.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Brad. I wanted to make sure that the subtitles, I know I had them turned on. Let me see here. Yeah, shows that they're on. Now, if I remember correctly, though, unfortunately, they're hard-coded. So the subtitles are going to look like regular font. They're not going to be the Gilligan's Island style, sad to say.
Oh, we broke tradition. We broke tradition. That's a curse on this here.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
Well, it really is a horror movie then. We don't have the right font.
Yes. And now we get the reveal. Baron Frankenstein is not actually dead.
Stein.
Yeah.
And you know what else is excellent? I don't know if you guys remember or not, but I mentioned when we first covered the movie Dracula that Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee were big Looney Tunes fans. And whenever they worked together, they would always talk about Looney Tunes cartoons and they would imitate the characters.
Oh, I would have loved to have heard that.
You can hear the beep, 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 beep.
That would have been awesome. Two such
I wonder what
serious
their
actors,
favorite characters
Looney
were.
Tunes. Yeah.
And then that, of course, is just a painting, correct? Like a
Yeah, they don't go as far as a matte painting. It's just strictly a painting, yes.
yeah,
And I think it's Carl's Brook.
Carlsbrook.
Carlsbrook.
Brook.
Carl's
Carl's
Brook.
Brook.
Carlos
Brook.
Brook. Carlos Brook.
There it is. And
Yeah,
now
how
we get
many
our
doctors
stuffy old doctors.
Yeah, how many doctors does this town need? Like, how big of a town is it?
That's my major city.
Must be huge.
Well,
That's what, about 12, 13, 14 doctors?
so it'd be
And it looks
15
more
in
like
here
a
plus the
social circle
hospital.
than anything else.
And plus the hospital. These are all private doctors that cater to the people who can afford it, not the people who need it necessarily need it.
Yeah,
Yes.
The elite of the elite.
Well, not necessarily. There could be some that are not necessarily the aristocrats, but they're well enough off that they can afford a doctor.
That's true. That's true. They're all a bunch of stuffy socialites, is what they are. All they care about is the fact that there's this new doctor in town, and he hasn't made himself available to all of them, and they're jealous. And bear with me, guys. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna fix the subtitles really quick. So bear
It's
with
all
me.
good.
Gorilla, can you do me a favor? Gorilla, can you do me a favor and get us caught up on the chat while I fix the subtitles?
Gorilla's mic is muted right now.
Oh, Gorilla's eating the lasagna.
That's
Okay.
right. So one thing that I noticed about this scene is it
Nope.
really reminded me of like, oh, I'm sorry, are you back?
No, I just had to go put it in the
Oh
oven.
no!
Oh, okay. Yeah, it just reminded me
Yeah.
because this is basically a union, right? They're very upset that Frankenstein isn't playing by their game. They're like, not only is this dude
Exactly,
refused to
right.
join the council of the medical board, but he's apparently everyone else's patients are flocking to him. So, because he's so good.
Exactly. Right. He is eons above them when it comes to talent and skill, and they're jealous about that. They know that there's something that he knows that they don't know, and that's just it's killing them, basically eating them alive. They just don't like it.
Plus, does Frankenstein to take in the lower dregs too, or does he follow their same method? Just take the ones that can't afford it.
No, that's his whole shtick. Is he has the poor hospital, and that's where we'll find out later. Multiple things happen, but his whole thing is that he helps the poor. He's a kindly person, versus he treats everyone, and that's part of his notoriety and why people are going to him versus these other doctors.
It's
Exactly
interesting.
right.
Do you think he actually is kindly, like in his heart, or do you think he
No.
uses his kindly nature as a cover?
100%.
Oh, okay.
It's a cover.
Okay.
Dude's a psycho, but we'll
It's a
find out
cover, and
later in the movie.
Okay.
Right. I think in my opinion, I think it's a cover, but he also does it to raise money for his own
Okay.
experiments.
Right.
Yes.
'Cause I
Well,
don't think
not
he-
only
yeah,
raise
I don't
money,
think he
but
has a lot of money at first.
he
Right.
gets the whole point of having a hospital for the poor is he benefits in other ways, which I just don't want to get into too much spoilers yet.
That's better.
Yay!
There we go.
So what they're talking about is the fact that he's Frankenstein is keeping it to himself, which they don't like. That's basically it's bothering them. So they're saying, well, maybe the only way we can get in there to talk to him is if we make an appointment. And he's going by Dr. Stein, as you can see. So he's incognito.
Oh, how so original?
Now we have the waiting room. Yes. And we have the waiting room.
I was just wondering, is there significance to the flower he puts in his coat several times, I believe, in the movie? Is there any significance, a symbolic thing to that, or not?
I never even gave any thoughts to it, PvP.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I
Anthony
don't,
did,
right, I don't think it's, go ahead.
the upper classes or the elite usually wear flowers on their coats, at least the men.
Yeah, I was
Well,
just
and
wondering if
I
the
think he's doing
particular
that
type
too,
of
because-
flower. Anyway,
Go
sorry.
ahead,
I
Bob.
think he's doing that too because I think he's doing that too just because he's a professional and it's to remind us, the audience, that he's still a high class gentleman. Even though
Okay.
he's essentially working out of a low rent shack and he's covering all the poor patients of town. I think it's a way of reminding us he's still a high class gentleman.
Makes
But
sense.
I could be wrong.
No, it totally makes sense, Pop. Good point.
Yeah, and I was right.
Maybe it's a way of reminding himself that he's a high class gentleman too. You never know, right?
Well, and not only that, though, but you notice it here that he addresses her as Countess. So he's doing everybody. He's doing not only the poor, but even the rich people. That word has traveled through town that he's the best doctor they have and that he's got some cutting edge techniques. So he's definitely, this is right here is what's drawing the ire of all the other physicians because they're jealous, because they're basically losing patients. Literally.
Well, and I mean, oh, sorry, Bob. Go ahead. You weren't finished.
Oh, I'm finished.
I was just gonna say because, like, even in the last one, he was the ladies' man and whatnot, and so like he kind of like look at him there. He's a handsome devil. Like he knows it. Like the flower itself even accentuates with the white vest. Like it's stylish. It's classical. It exudes not only like a sense of, once again, elegance and kindness, but it'll also smell good when you lean in. And the whole point of these people showing up is, well, she's trying to get her daughter hooked up with Dr. Stein here.
Does he know it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
very well aware.
Yeah. And then another thing too is, that's a reoccurring theme in these movies here. As we go through these movies and we cover them, that's a reoccurring theme. Is he's definitely a ladies' man, and without giving away too many spoilers, I'll say he uses that to his advantage, and unfortunately oversteps his bounds eventually.
Yep.
Because,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
right,
We'll talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, because he's going to slowly start losing his sanity. Ooh, yeah.
Which I'm interested and excited to talk to you about once we get to that point in the movie and that point in the series too, because it's just there's a lot to that.
I know. I love the fact that the character changes and the character arc. It's wonderful. It makes all the movies unique.
Right, and so here we go. This chick's trying so hard till she's like, "Oh, it's so cold. Aren't you gonna use your ear?" And it's just like she's trying so hard.
Hey, nowadays
Right.
he'd be getting me tooed from where his face is at.
Oh, 100%.
There's 3 men to see you, Dr. Stein. So these are 3 of those so-called doctors that are coming in. Because, like we mentioned earlier, this is the only way that he'll see them is if they book an appointment.
Well, he's
Yeah,
a
They're
busy
from the
man.
medical council.
He's
The
a busy man.
Snobbish Council doctors, yeah.
And of course, he doesn't care about that. He says they must wait just like everybody else. Wait until after surgery. Yeah, well, they seemed impatient, and he doesn't care. Make them wait. I like that.
No, I thought it was awesome that doctors have to schedule an appointment and actually wait. I just love that. That was so good.
Well, not
Yep,
only do
and that's
they
what's
have to
killing-
wait, but they have to wait with the sick, poor people that they've refused to serve.
Yeah, exactly right. These are the people they refuse to even come near, and he makes them wait right alongside everyone else.
Right? Smart, vindictive. It's beautiful. It's just like, oh, there you go. He's like, oh, because they didn't get to wait where the Countess was waiting and whatnot in that luxurious waiting room. They get to wait
Exactly
here with
right.
all the sick, smelly, disgusting people.
It is pretty awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Right? The one dude's like, I can't even bear the smell of it. Oh my god.
Right, and this is where they have this is where they have the attitude, and they're plugging their nose and all this other garbage. And this one guy does say that. He goes, "Gentlemen, you must remember that these are the poor." There's Dr. Stein, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Looking after the poor and
Oh.
needy.
Should we catch up on chat here?
Sure.
Wonderful idea. Thank you, Gorilla.
Sure, Nemesis too, and read this one.
Nemesis of Eden says, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, buddy, at Hakeem.
Yeah. And Anytime says Van Gogh self-portrait frame. And Brad says Frankenstein enters a bodybuilding competition. Sadly, he was disappointed.
Heyo.
He says, Waka Waka? Pull yourself together, monster. And he says, well, I have to go and enjoy the rest of your stream. I doubt you'll still be going when I have the next opportunity to watch.
Well,
Then,
thanks for being here, Brad Wolf. We appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Brad.
Yeah. And Anytime says,
And
I found
I have to step out just for a moment. I just step out
Sure.
just for a moment to tend to my dog. I'll be right back.
Right. And Anytime says, I found Frank's monster to be surprisingly level-headed.
Heyo.
And Brad Wolf, have a good night. See you, Brad Wolf.
Yeah. Good night, Brad Wolf.
He'd probably lose his head if it wasn't screwed on.
Anytime says,
Bolted on, I should say. There we go.
yeah, it's a soy drinkers union. Ha 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 ha. Anytime says he wasn't exactly a fan of the village people. Oh man,
Adventure Time is on a roll.
yeah.
Well, he has more.
He says, hi, Pi, glad you dropped by. Scurvy says, does this feel more right seeing me at night? And Anytime says he was trying to make a living. Yeah. Suzanne says, Scurvy, I see you all day long, lol. And Anytime says he had her in stitches. And Scurvy says Suzanne Anytime saw me during the daytime and commented that I'm not around usually during the day, which was pretty much correct.
Oh, so is Lemon Pie a vampire then?
Yeah. And this is why Nemesis will survive the AI apocalypse, because he thinks the AI.
That is correct. All right, we'll try to. I'll be in a better position than everyone else, at least.
Yeah. And Anytime said, did he serve frankfurters with Munster cheese?
Heyo.
Cheese. That's Oiler Graces a low. That's
All
Suzanne says, hey,
right.
Pop, gotta run for a bit. Well, have a good night, Suzanne.
Oh, good night,
Thank you, Suzanne.
Bye.
Take care. Stay warm.
And it says there's something about the monster in the blazer, Jerry Seinfeld. And Suzanne
Heyo.
says, Nemesis.
Okay, good to hear.
All right. Yeah. Very cool.
He came back just in time, Pop. We're all finished up.
Yeah, I'm glad. I didn't want to miss a thing. Look at this. Interesting, isn't it? Quite a work of art. And that will come to play later on.
Yes, it will.
What do you think, gentlemen? Or why it's there? Of course, they're turning their nose down to it. All except, and you can tell by the look on their faces, that the only one that shows any actual genuine interest is the one on the far left. He doesn't seem to have the attitude the other ones do.
Well, he is a few decades younger than him, so of course he's going to be a little more interested. He wants to be in the cutting edge of science and
Yes.
technology.
You're right about that. He's younger, and they're all set in their ways.
Well, and this scene here is very important because it just kind of plays that he overpowers this dude, uses his position of power to get what he wants. He's like, oh, well, sorry, man, that arm's going to have to come off. And he's like, dude, what? No, it's not. It's fine. He's like, oh, I don't care. It's coming off. You're going for surgery in like 3 hours. Like, prep him for surgery. You're going to have to learn a new trade, bro, or learn to pickpocket with your left hand. Like, it's just like, holy shit.
Right, it's the arm of a thief.
Well, that's what happens when you're going for free medical care, right? You know, at least in that part of the world at that time.
Well,
I guess it does. Back then, it really cost an arm.
An arm. Well, at least he didn't take his leg. You know.
That's right. He's got that at least.
well, as the saying goes, it costs you an arm and a leg to visit someone or something.
Yes, that's
right.
Euler Greg says that last comment should be read as the Terminator from Suzanne Ecclestein. That's cute.
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
It was amazing when you think about the medical advances and how much medicine has changed since when this movie takes place. So, for example, this takes place mid-1800s, and here we are, 2024. And just think now, 200 years from now, they're going to look at our medicine now like it's barbaric.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Well, I mean,
go ahead, PPP.
No, I was just going to mention, like when I watch TOS and I see an episode like City on the Edge of Forever, and Bones comes, trucking through the dimensional portal or whatever, and he's like, stark raving nuts at that point, and he finds the homeless guy, and he's like, "Oh, I'd love to see a hospital. I bet they cut and sew people like garments, sutures and needles, and then of course he collapses in tears or whatever. So I think you're totally right. I think we will look primitive in a couple 100 years.
Especially
totally
like treatment of cancer, dialysis, all that stuff. That the day has to come. I have my fingers crossed. I hope that as a society we get better, not worse. And I hope the day comes where they start curing things like they're supposed to do instead of profiting off the treatment. Because I think that's despicable what they're doing now.
I think it will turn around, Pop, because you look at history, like, you look back thousands of years in history, human history, we go through our cycles of bad times, and then things get better, and then we have a golden age for a while, and then things fall apart again, and there's more bad times. And it seems like that's kind of a permanent, unfortunate, maybe a permanent fixture of humanity, where we have to keep relearning and slowly progressing, but we seem to, eventually get it right and manage to do it. So I think being hopeful is, well, it's better than being pessimistic, I think, right?
Well, we are towards the tail end of a golden age of our history right now. And that's why things are falling apart, it seems, sadly.
I guess it depends on your perspective too, Dan. It's like, for me, the golden age was from like the late 50s right through the 80s, and then by the 90s, it was the golden age was fading for me. But I have a different perspective, of course.
Well, it depends how old you are. I'm still young, while you guys are, most of you are old geezers.
Well, thank you.
We're old geezers.
Wow.
And you and Nemesis still have your whole life ahead of you, so I agree with that.
Yeah, it all depends on where you started,
So we missed a bit of comedy in there, and unfortunately, that's the problem with the slides the way they are. I recommend watching this movie at least once. There was just the old man smoking up like a chimney, and he's like, "Oh, it's me lungs, Captain. I don't understand what's going on." He's like, "Dude, fucking really?" And he grabs the pipe out of his mouth, and he's like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And he's like, "Not smoke." Because that's one of the things that I
Right.
noticed, especially in these themes. They're very prominent of like, oh no, miss, I don't use soaps. The soap is disgusting. Like, you know, dirt is important, grime is important. Like, just the attitude they had towards like, well, of course they didn't know about germs or microbes, viruses, anything like that. Like penicillin, I'm not even sure had been. Oh no, penicillin has to have been invented
definitely.
accidentally by now, right?
Not yet. No.
No, I don't think so.
No,
No.
I think penicillin was invented towards either during World War One or after World War One. I think it was. Penicillin
Yeah, it was the
was.
1900s.
Yeah, it was later. Yeah. 20th century at some point. I think the thing is that a lot of the common people, so-called, were quite used to being dirty back then because, I mean, a lot of poor people probably didn't have a great access to running water through large parts of their lives, right? So they just kind of accepted it and got used to, you know, the way things were.
Yeah, and most of them were farmers or factory workers.
Yes.
Late 1930s, and by 1941, it was an injectable form of the drug for penicillin. So yes, you guys are correct. Penicillin was not even anywhere near this point in time.
Not even 100 years yet. Wow, that's unreal, eh?
Well,
Yeah, crazy to think.
Well,
and it happened by accident too.
Well, for the common people, yeah, the 1940s. But for the guy that invented it, I think it was somewhere in the 1910s or 1920s when the scientists invented it or discovered it.
It was 1928. It was a bacteriologist, Alexander Fleming, who first observed it. Staphylococcus aureus, when he failed to seal one of his things properly. He left it in the sun. He came back and he noticed that there was a bunch of stuff in it. And he's like, oh, interesting. But they were capable of killing all of the bacteria around it. So interesting.
Well,
that being said, carrying on.
Well, that's just because he left his lab a mess, but you know.
Well, yeah, I know, right? Like a happy accident, we're just going to say.
I recommend the movie Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet. It tells the story of the discovery of penicillin. It's a great movie.
Oh, cool.
Tell me, from the way he cuts that chicken, does that mean he's a great surgeon when it comes to other types of meat?
I'm guessing so. That similar to Jack the Ripper. They always claim that he must have been a surgeon because of how precise his victims were cut, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. It's just the precision he has. Flesh is flesh, really, when it comes right down to it. It's just a matter of cutting through it with precision and knowledge. If you know how something works, how something is built, how the body is built, whether it's a chicken, whether it's a fish, whether it's a human, you're going to be able to clean and dress that meat appropriately if you have the proper knowledge.
Yeah, once you know how it's put together, you know how to take it apart, right?
Exactly.
And here's where the doctor confronts him and basically says, I know you're Baron Frankenstein, because he's still, remember now, he's still hiding out with a false name.
Well, he's trying to infer he's I would not say persecuting, but he's trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Interrogate him or something about
coerce the knowledge out of him without saying it.
Right, and what he's telling him also, he's saying, I know you're Baron Frankenstein, but don't worry, I'm not going to turn you in. I want to work with you. I'm amazed at your work, and I'm intrigued. So that's how he's able to get in on Frankenstein's good side.
Well, he's also insinuating and probing for information at this point too, right? Because he's not sure.
Yeah.
Plus, it shows how that young doctor is actually intelligent too.
Yes, well, and it makes sense too, because if you're a doctor, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I would be fascinated too if I met a doctor that I knew that brought the dead back to life. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Oh yeah, right. It'd be because everyone knows the story of Baron von Frankenstein at this point in time. So yeah,
absolutely, yes.
To him, it's it's a dangerous gamble, right? You're you're dealing with someone who has forbidden knowledge, basically, and it's like, what price are you going to pay in the end for that knowledge?
Yes, at this point, he's a living legend.
Yeah,
So everyone's heard of him.
Yeah, plus the story is kind of biblical in a way when it comes to the forbidden fruit, forbidden knowledge, and metaphor too.
True. And that's what he's telling me. He says, I want to learn more than any university could teach me, and I know you can do it. Finest medical brain in the world. The whole point is, Dr. Frankenstein does not want to create a monster. He wants to create a man, a regular man. And he wants to prove to himself and to the medical community that it can be done. But unfortunately, as we've seen here, and we will see more of, he's played with mistakes and accidents, unfortunately, which seems to hinder him.
Yeah, it's because as we recall from the last one, there was his last apprentice turned on him and tried to smash the brain in the jar, and that's why the monster was the way it was, is because of brain damage.
Yep.
It wasn't, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's not just mistakes and bad luck, though. It's also people, other third parties coming in and meddling with what he set up and setting the wheels of disaster in motion, so to speak, right?
It's also his
Exactly.
hubris too.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because, like, I'm looking forward to discussing a little bit about the previous movie, how that would have been once we get to a certain point in this movie. But we're a little bit off from that first.
So now's where he confides in him. Yes, I'm Dr. Frankenstein, but you must not address me as such in public. Oh, look at that set design. It's amazing. You guys know they're making another Frankenstein movie right now, right?
Yeah, you told
And
us,
it's like,
right?
I have no faith in it.
I missed it at the start
And I
because
read it,
so.
and I read another article this week about a remake of Little Shop of Horrors. But what's interesting is they're talking about it's going to be directed by Joe Dante, and get this, it's going to be produced by Roger Corman, PvP.
Wow. That might be good, actually.
I know, because I mean that's right, because it's Joe Dante. I mean, come on, guys, that's from Gremlins and all. I mean, the guy's an established horror director, and Roger Corman coming out of retirement to produce a movie again. That's
Jeez,
fantastic.
how old is Roger? He must be 99 or something by now.
90 something,
Wow.
yeah, he's up there in his
Oh
90s.
man. Well, they're both legends, so
Still
if
mid-
anybody could get it right, they might actually do it, right, Pop?
Yeah, mentally still sharp as a tack. The thing is though, the deciding factor is will it be CGI or practical effects? And if it's CGI, it's going to be an immense disappointment.
Well,
I guess I should have more.
I hope they get it right.
Well, it also depends how good the CGI is and what they do with the CGI.
I know, but I can't help but think of a perfect example is the remake of The Thing. It was appalling, and I don't know. I had no faith in it because, in my opinion, when they use CGI, it's lazy.
Are you talking about with Kurt Russell?
Especially, yes. Right, the Kurt Russell one was the practical effects, and then we got that horrible remake. I don't know, about 10 years ago, that was CGI that was absolute trash. Especially considering the fact that the people who did the effects for those movies are all still alive.
How is it today the most heroes nowadays are villains, and that the villains are actually more intriguing than the heroes nowadays?
You could thank Disney for that. They're trying to, that's just it. They don't know how to make a good villain anymore. So they've got to write all the villains now as sympathetic. And it's totally ruined it. They don't know how to write. I mean, it's just another testament to their inability to have any sort of intelligence.
I
mean,
wonder if they just don't want people to believe in heroes anymore.
I mean,
Well, when it's written by a bunch of narcissists, they don't know what a hero is. They don't know the difference between a good guy and a bad guy. That's the problem, because they're narcissists and they're pessimistic.
I will tell you this, that the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the animated version, that the hero, the villain George Claude Frodo, he's one of the most scariest villains I've seen in a Disney movie.
Cool. So now he's showing him some of his, let's just say, introductory experiments.
And tell me,
So he's showing how he has control over the muscles.
Tell me, is that a cover as well in case people find out his lab that's a front for them to see what the hell he's doing?
I think it is. You're right. I think the reason why he has the main experiment hidden in the back is exactly this is to appease anybody if they come in. It's just enough to show them, I think, without giving away his cover. I love the set design of that old practical machinery and electricity and everything.
It's one of the best things about this movie is just seeing his whole lab set up. I'm just like, oh, it's fascinating, right? Like, just to see how much more advanced it is from the last setup that he had.
Well, that's what
Like
I
the last one, he basically just had.
That's true, because each movie.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say he had like. Go ahead, Bob.
Better and better. His technology.
Yeah, like this right here, right? The eyeballs. That wasn't in before, where he's just like, it's turning and looking. It's almost like an automaton. It's really cool.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's
and I mean, like,
avatar.
Oh, dude, right? And I mean, like, of course, it's not like you can tell that it's clearly just fake eyeballs because I mean the pupils aren't dilating or whatever. But whatever, I can forgive it. It's a practical effect. Same with this hand. It's very clear that like. It's a fake hand, but man, is that cool, right? The eyeballs are reacting, and they're like, oh no, because the whole point of this scene is to show that, like, look, man, it's not just the fact of reanimating the dead, it's to show that everything here, the body can respond by sight. Like, if it doesn't know that I'm going to do something, it's not going to be able to react. But if I show the eyes, the fire, and then I show moving it towards the hand, it's going to react. It's a really fascinating concept.
Yeah, the concept was very well carried out. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, it's also another instinctual reaction too. It's fight or flight too.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. And you can see it freaking out because it was trapped there. There was no flight, and it couldn't fight back, even though there was no real danger because he wasn't gonna put the fire in the water, like, because we all know that there is fire that can burn underwater.
Yeah. Hey, can we catch up?
But the eyes didn't know that. Yeah, let's do it up.
Thank you, Gorilla. Yes.
All right. Suzanne says, okay, I'm back. Turns out they have enough mods to handle their shit. And
who's
Suzanne
that?
Says, I don't know who she's modding for.
Okay.
She's a mod on a lot of channels, so.
Well, see, what is this Tuesday? I don't know who. I don't know.
The only one that I knew was streaming was Tommy and maybe Teague, but I don't know. But anyhow,
Clobby has a stream right now. He does it Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Oh, okay. I thought he was Thursdays.
I could be wrong.
Yeah. Grace says McCoy mentioned how primitive our medical procedures were several times. What is this? The Dark Ages?
Yes.
Yeah. Ella Gray says sometimes our primitive methods were superior. Sulfa drugs are in a particular episode. I don't know what a sulfa drug is.
Sulfa drug?
Sulfa.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I need to go back to medical school, I guess.
And Scurvy here says, I think this was set before penicillin. Yeah, this was set in the 1800s, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I think it's at 1890 at the beginning.
So right at the beginning of electricity.
I thought it was 1860.
I could be wrong. And here's where he explains exactly what happened in the first movie with his experiment.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gorilla.
And Edge of Time says Frankenstein would have made a monster a companion, but he didn't have the guts. God, Edge of Time's on a roll today. And Scurvy says, I'm munching on jalapenos. It's a mild one. Yeah, I worked in a Mexican restaurant. I've had enough jalapenos for a lifetime. And Edge of Time says, are you saying Frankenstein needed to learn how to make friends? And
I guess he did, right?
Mm-hmm. Ella Greg says, this is back when villains were often spiffy dressers. Oh yeah. Even the good guy, you don't even get the good guys dressed in the spiffy.
Yeah, they actually had 3-piece suits, the whole thing. I mean, definitely went all out on that.
Yeah. And Ella Greg says they were also intelligent and well spoken of as well. Yeah, great sets, Pop. And hey, Pickles, how's it going?
Hey, Lily G, good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, we missed you for Fellowship of the Ring there.
Hey, LDG, good to see you, dude.
And Edgetad says, I want to read the book, but correspondence letters aren't my favorite format, Dracula. For example, not terrible, but not exactly easy reading. And Edgetad says, I designed by your eyes, Blade Runner. And Other Greg says, cheers. All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Whoops. And now he's talking about he's basically going to try to recreate the experiment again because the other one was damaged. And all he needs is a good brain. So he's saying he wants a living brain. He doesn't want one that has been dead for a while. It's got to be fresh. And they're saying, yes, but doesn't that mean that would be murder? You have to take it out of a live person? And here's where he says he has a volunteer, believe it or not.
Yeah. It's only murder if you get caught.
True. And here's our volunteer. You mean Carl? Yes. I examined him thoroughly. It can be dispersed during the operation.
So how exactly is he paralyzed? Because he can obviously walk and he has use of one arm at least.
There's some sort of blood clot that's blocking something.
Yeah, I know he has a blood clot, but like he's obviously walks just fine and he can use one of his arms at least. I wouldn't call that paralysis.
No, but it's maybe there's something pressing on his brain or something that, as the doctor said, it can be dispersed during surgery, but it's impeding enough that he's basically miserable all the time.
Could a blood knot, though, possibly be fatal? Like, generally, blood clots can be very bad news, at least what I've heard.
Well,
yeah. Could it be like a congenital deformity when he was born, perhaps?
Well, no, because that was, I think that's what the doctor asked. And he was like, no, it's fine. Like, it's not anywhere that's like lethal. I can fix this. But you are right. When most of the time it would be extremely lethal, especially back in those days.
Yeah, because even now people pass away from blood clots quite suddenly sometimes, right?
Yeah, well, the blood clots are when you die when they travel to your heart, or they start pressing on your brainstem and cutting off oxygen flow to your brainstem.
Exactly.
Or to your brain.
Wow, Dr. Gorilla, you're knowledgeable, man.
Oh, actually, I know. I I know people who have to deal with this. So
Oh,
Well,
okay.
well.
Okay.
Plus, it's also somewhat logical. Like if you have a blood clot in a major organ that provides a very important function to your body, it may kill you. The sparks of romance fly between him and her, huh? At least he thinks.
Now, Nemesis, is this the one you were talking about from James Bond or no?
This is the one I was talking about from James Bond. You are correct.
Oh yeah, she's definitely
Sorry, I was
very
just reading up
beautiful.
on Night of the Demons, which was placed as a double billing with this film when it was released in the United States, hence is why I was looking at that. Yes, her name is Margaret, and the actress name is Eunice Gayson.
Oh, very cool. And Night of the Demons is a good movie.
I've never seen it.
I think that's one with Dana Andrews. Yeah, I think that's one with Dana Andrews. It's got a creepy scene with a giant demon that looks amazing.
Oh, sounds cool. I'm gonna have to check it out just for that scene alone.
What year was that, Pop?
58, same as this one.
Oh, okay.
Black and white though.
Sounds familiar. I might have seen it.
Yeah, Dana Andrews.
So, when did the Golden Gun come out, or was that the name of the first James Bond movie, or was that the second one?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Because I'm trying to calculate. Well, this movie is before James Bond, or is it roughly the same time as James Bond? When the first James Bond movie came out.
Sure. I'm not sure.
Hold on.
I thought James Bond came out early 60s, but I could be wrong.
I think it was 1962 was the first Bond film, actually.
Couldn't tell you. I'm not knowledgeable on Bond, unfortunately.
I think Dr. No was 1962. I could be wrong, but I think it was.
Hang on. Dr. No was 1962, directed by Terrence Young. You are correct, BBP. Good job.
Oh, thank you. I figured it
You
was.
are welcome.
Yeah, I thought it was early 60s.
The first James Bond film. It says right on the thing. Right on the British theatrical release poster by Mitchell Hooks. Yeah, and there's our girl.
By the way, I have seen Night of the Demon or Demons. I guess there's two versions of the title, and it is pretty freaky. I gotta say, guys, it's a good one.
Cool.
Yeah, it is. I highly recommend it. Maybe we'll cover it on this stream here one of these nights.
Actually, that would be great, Pop. Like, you know, the weird thing is I always thought it was a French film because it was directed by Jacques Tournier or whatever his name is. I believe he's a French director, but it says here it was actually made in England. So I did not ever know that. Cool.
And there's the brain.
Brain, what is brain?
No, I think that's the clot, right? That he took out?
Yes,
that's the chunk that was.
Wow, that's a big clot.
Well, right?
You sure that's the cloth? Because unless they took out a huge part of his brain.
Dude, the whole point of this scene is they're transferring the brain from one to another.
Yeah, so it's like that jar. What was his brain, right?
No, this jar was a formaldehyde with the blood clot. Or the tumor or whatever. And there's the psycho monkey.
Psycho monkey.
Well, I mean, we find out later why I say that.
Yeah.
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 Right, this is a very tense scene here.
Yes.
Oh.
And once again, it's built on atmosphere, tension, like, and the cuts are nice too. It's not jarring enough, like there's not a billion cuts, but there's enough where each cut holds long enough that it's good, and it doesn't overstay its welcome.
What I liked about the film was its pacing, deliberate, slower pacing, which you'd never get away with the rapid jump cut stuff these days. But I just love the way this movie sort of unfolded in kind of a almost leisurely manner. I thought that was actually a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, the young audiences, I'm sure, would be complaining because there's not an explosion every second. But no, I prefer this done correctly. Interesting too. This is the year 2024, and we definitely do not have the that we know of the technology for a brain transplant. We have liver and kidney and all that, but not brain.
Or lungs.
We even have face,
lungs, heart. I mean, just about everything except the brain, right, Pop?
Yeah.
Even faces. You guys have seen where their face have been mauled and they replace their face. It looks horrifying.
I did see a lady like maybe 5 years ago. She had her face ripped off by a dog, and it was horrific. And they actually, and they actually gave her the face of a recently deceased person. And I mean, it didn't look great, but it looked a lot better than the way she looked before, right? So yeah.
Right, but she did look like somebody right out of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, I felt very sorry for the poor woman, actually.
I gave Otto the brain of an orangutan. It's not very encouraging. Was it successful? You can see for yourself.
And this guy will cause trouble later on.
Yeah, this is where it starts to go sideways. As far as I, figured when I was watching this, this assistant of Dr. Frankenstein's is not exactly a very nice guy, is he? He's kind of a cutthroat kind of dude.
Yes.
It appears that in these movies, it's always karma that comes back to bite Frankenstein in the ass.
There's always somebody that screws him over, right? Oops.
Yeah. Can we catch up on chats real quick?
Good idea. Thank you, Gorilla.
All right. Pickle says, just on my way home from a hard day at work listening to you guys. Sorry I missed Lord of the Rings. I'm just not a fan. Oh, LDG, I knew you're sick, but I didn't know you're that sick not to like Lord of the Rings.
Well, I can understand. I share the same sentiment. I'm not a fan. That's why I wasn't there.
No, you showed up. You just kept asking if it was over yet.
Yeah, I go in, right. I'll come in to give you the watch hours, and I'll do some comments, and I'll give you the thumbs up and all that. But I'm not going to watch the movie. No offense.
Oh, we had a couple moments I could have probably clipped out, but I haven't yet. Major Time says, it's not night people. Greg can testify to that. And Greg says, quite true, and a nice reference, Edge. And Edge says, spoiler for LDG. It turns out one does just walk into Mordor, or two.
Technically three, because there's Gollum as well. But, I mean, Not to be
Yeah,
the
no spoilers,
silly
no
guy.
spoilers. No spoilers.
Sorry, bro. My bad.
PvP hasn't seen it yet.
Oh shit, my bad.
Yeah.
Well, I actually have no idea what you're talking about, so it wasn't that big a
Okay.
spoiler, Nemesis. So no worries.
All right.
Perfect.
So Suzanne says, I hate my phone. It bounced me.
Uh-oh.
It sounds like my phone is a piece of garbage.
Yeah. And Edge of Time says, paging Dr. Frankenstein. Please pick up the red courtesy phone. Something monstrous is happening in town. All right. We're all caught up.
So this scene is
Thank
proving
you.
that like Carl has gone from his old body to his new body. He seems pretty functional, right? So this being said, if Dr. Frankenstein had been able to use the professor's brain in the first movie, I believe that he would have been as lucid and as functional as Carl would have been, as he is
Yes.
now.
Oh, yeah.
If not more intelligent, because it was the professor, right? Like he was the smartest dude around that they could find.
Yeah. You know what I found interesting is Dr. Frankenstein actually had it all planned out very well at this point in the film. Like everything was working. It was a success. Carl was looking good. He was functional. He was aware. I mean, he needed a little more time to recover, of course, but everything was looking up at this point, and it was like, wow, the doctor has actually got it right here. And, Carl looks good. He looks like an actual real man. Like there's nothing horrific about him. And I was kind of thinking, gosh, I kind of wish, we had a happy ending almost, but I know that wasn't going to happen. So, yeah.
I know. I always wish for a happy ending too.
Because I felt for Carl. I thought Carl was cool. And, I mean, then we'll see what happens later, unfortunately. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Carl develops to be a really nice character, and then, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, you can tell that, and even just from the interaction before, he was upset. He's like, I've been born into this body. I've been ridiculed all my life. And now he has this whole new chance in a whole new body. And it seems to be working for him. So at this point in the film, you're praying and hoping that things are going to work out for him.
Well, speak for yourself on that one.
Oh, Gorilla. Tell us how you really feel.
This actor was really good, I thought. I really liked his performance. Actually, his performance was one of my favorite things in the movie. But did he ever do other stuff? Like, I don't recognize him, from anything else, but...
I have to look it up. It's possible. Hammer had their stable of actors.
And here's the one thing you don't say to a patient or to someone that is an experiment, and you don't tell them.
Yeah. So, man, I forgot how long some of these scenes went without any dialogue.
There's dialogue. It's just unfortunately it's in between the frames. That's why I
that-
definitely recommend for all you out in the chat, please watch this movie on your own when you get a chance. Even after the stream is over, I still leave the link in my community tab so you can watch it later on. No soap? No, I never use it.
Yeah, but he wants cigarettes. Or
Yes.
tobacco.
I must ask you to keep out of the board when I'm on duty.
Yeah, this is a very dialogue-heavy movie, so you're missing a lot with the fact that we have to do the scene skip just to avoid copyright and whatnot.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out this movie at least once.
Wait, why did she have to stay on the ward while he's working?
I can't remember.
I don't know. Oh, I have a theory. Maybe just make sure she doesn't get taken advantage of, and get if you what's the term, like getting pops channel taken down, getting advances towards the wrong way.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think Dr. Frankenstein knows he's still not completely convinced that it's perfect. So I think he's taking precautions, perhaps.
He should have got rid of this assistant then, because this guy is so shady.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, the
Of
assistant
course.
is the one that says things to her that have consequences later on, right?
Yes,
It's
and
almost like,
he has a big mouth.
it's almost like each time Frankenstein tries to create a new monster, the will of God strikes him down, saying, "No, no, no, that's my area of expertise, not yours."
Yes. It would be interesting to see how far they've advanced on cloning.
Yeah, but then when you develop cloning technology and start doing that stuff, you get a philosophical debate about cloning. Then,
Oh, they're already doing it, so they don't care about the philosophical debate. Because I remember when they outlawed it, but they went ahead and did it anyway.
well, we could discuss that when the movie's over with, because I don't want to get too far off topic in this video already. We could do that towards the end.
Yeah, or we could always do it on one of our rumblings from the lab streams. Uh, yeah, this guy cannot be trusted.
Yeah, he's a real weasel, that's for sure.
Funny how in movies, the bad guys, they've got to make sure that they look like bad guys, act like bad guys.
yeah. Nowadays, you'd have people get all in an uproar because they're making the poor people just look like monsters and should be locked up. You know.
Exactly.
But I don't know if I'm making sense on that, but where like the poor and homeless people ought to be locked away from society and all that stuff. Shut up.
Well, in some ways, we're right back where we were back in those days. In some ways.
Poor Carl.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's very unfortunate that Dr. Frankenstein didn't put a big lock on that door, so our well-meaning lady couldn't come in and sort of upset things here.
Well, I think he did, but I think his assistant gave her the key.
Oh, did he? Okay, I forgot that bit. Still, don't give the key to the assistant then, because the assistant's not trustworthy.
Yeah, the assistant's just, he's getting too involved.
And I think the young doctor here starts to figure that out at this point, right? If I remember.
Yeah, he's starting to be suspicious.
Well, that's a bad line, or not a bad. I mean, a good line, but it's a bad outcome.
Oh yeah.
Well, sometimes for us that have been married, sometimes we do want to do that to our spouses.
Yeah, but we're talking about cannibalistic behavior here, which is
Well,
like,
yeah,
uh-oh.
like, well, and it just goes to show because like he doesn't think about that. He's like, he because I can't remember what he put in there beforehand, but now he somehow turns to the point of like eating just flesh, and he's like, "Oh yeah, whatever, that's fine." And it's like, no, that's a huge warning sign, like because not clearly everything isn't correct yet. He doesn't have everything under control. If
Right.
one of his test subjects is basically, committing cannibalism of its other species, and there's the tattoo that we get the reveal from earlier on.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with some good old cannibalism every once in a while.
Well, especially if you're stuck on top of a mountain, with the rest of your team.
Ew.
Hey-o.
Huh.
And you know what? I found out that when Carl passes away or falls dead, he clenches his arm at the end of his death. Does that mean that it's just force of habit, or the clot comes back into his brain somehow?
Well,
I think that arm didn't take.
Again.
Yeah, we get there towards the end. I think it makes sense when we get there.
Yeah, let's talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, so spoiler.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Because Carl's in pretty good shape here, at this point. He's happy. Look at that smile, He's a happy fellow.
Would you be?
Yes, I would be.
Yeah, just have your brain transplanted into a body that's 30 or more years younger than the one you're in right now.
The point is, though, Carl is making a big mistake going out the window. He should have actually stayed where he was, because when he goes out, bad things start to happen.
Well, he is tired of being cooped up in that room.
No, he wasn't cooped up that long. I mean, he's been like in his crippled body for how many years. I'm sure a week or two he could probably handle if he actually thought it over a bit, right? At least that was my thought on watching it. But oh well. Because what happens here when he goes down to the lab? I mean, it all starts to go sideways, right?
He's trying to find closure.
But he doesn't find closure. He finds disaster.
No, then he ends up down at the pub, doesn't he?
No,
He burns his body.
Or wherever this place is, he gets out of.
This is Frankenstein's laboratory. And he can't stand the sight of his ex body, so he wants to cremate it. And then we get old creepy, weird, nasty guy here. I don't know why Frankenstein would even employ a guy with this, with this mentality, but I mean, instead of like just calling Frankenstein and keeping the guy here, he like starts beating. Well, we'll see what happens, and it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. Like, unfortunately, because like this guy obviously he's a fantastic actor for one. Like you can tell he's loving it. He's malicious, and he's enjoying it. And I mean, he's like to be the night guard. He's the watch guard, but
still, I would think Frankenstein would just say, grab them, chain them to the wall or incapacitate them, but don't beat them, beat them almost to death. Like, just, maybe just hold off on that a little bit.
I mean, I don't think, maybe not. I don't know. It is Frankenstein. Like, he doesn't, underneath that caring demeanor, he's like pretty cold and uncompassionate. So
true, but he was almost achieving great success here in this movie.
Oh, I know.
I felt so bad because I liked this Frankenstein. I thought he was a cool, decent fellow, and he could have, maybe, gone on to make something of his life. But then we got this happening.
Uh, he punches me in the face and he's just like, "Oh, what?"
Like, look at that
And of
smile.
course,
Come on, amazing
right,
acting.
Oh yeah,
right.
he's
He
great.
seems to really be enjoying himself. Yes.
Yes, he's a great sadist.
For
You
sure.
really got the joy of beating the crap out of someone?
And here we go. And it's not good.
No, Gorilla.
No, I don't think I'd enjoy beating the crap out of anybody, to be honest, Gorilla.
There's two people that I've beaten the crap out of that I enjoyed every minute of it.
Wow, there's a backstory there.
Well, I've had problems with these people for years, and you go and hit me right in the nuts. Oh, I'm gonna come back on you.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, that sounds like possible righteous motivation there. Yeah. And now he's thinking, oh, maybe I made a mistake.
Yeah, I shouldn't have messed with
Ye-
him.
This is what you go. Ye fucked up. Well, I think the brain was damaged when he hit him with in the head with the chair.
Well, he's
Oh
obviously,
yeah, there's been
he's obviously turning, into something not good at this point. I mean, look at that facial expression, right?
right. And he gets the idea looking at the monkey eating the flesh, and now he's like starting to drool and like contemplating eating the dude. And you're just like, oh man, it's devolving pretty quickly here.
Exactly. Yeah.
And now they figured out he's escaped, and get the chase searching for him.
Well, it's interesting because once again, like there aren't phones or anything like that now, so like it's interesting that he would deduce that he would go to the lab immediately. He's like, oh, he's going to go for his old body, and it's just like, what makes you think that?
Oh, a little late now.
So was Michael Gwynn the guy that played Frankenstein here at this part of the film, or have I got the wrong actor?
Michael Gwynn.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the actor that played, Frankenstein's character in the later part of the film here, because I thought he was a really gave an excellent performance through the film, and I can't seem to really, totally
Yes.
nail down who this guy is.
Yeah, it is Michael
Well,
Gwynn. You're correct.
Is Michael? Yeah, right. Michael
Okay.
Gwynn is Carl.
Yeah, and Oscar Kwiatek was the previous Carl, the Hunchback.
Okay. Okay, that clarifies. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And here we have Margaret finding Carl.
Uh-oh.
She just goes in to groom and play with her horses, and Carl's just like, I need help. And you're just like, what? And I mean, she's been very compassionate this entire time. That's kind of part of her whole character arc, is just the fact that she just wants to help people. She's a kind-hearted soul. That's why she was volunteering to basically give the poor Bibles or tobacco or soap.
No,
Right.
she's a great compassionate lady, but that's one of problem is when she took his shackles off and turned him loose, right? It was like
Unknowingly,
very
right? Like,
unfortunate. Oh, of course, yeah, but still, it was
yeah,
unfortunate.
if yeah, well, again, if like Dr. Stein had let him know or just been like, please don't interfere with anything in here, please. Like, this is off limits to even you. Don't go in.
Yes,
Maybe
true.
then, but like, Right, and it's interesting, like, right, once again, his legs are starting to act up. His arms are starting to act up. He's like, you can tell he's having a weird sense of feeling. You can tell, like, mentally he's not there. He's getting worse.
It's like he's devolving back into Carl at this point. At least that's the way it seems to me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, totally. I would agree on that, PvP. And so she's very... And even now she still listens because he's like, he's scared of Dr. Stein. He's like, don't tell Dr. Stein. Like, anyone but Dr. Stein, please. I need help from anyone but him.
Now, why did you want Dr. Stein's help? I never understood that.
In the first part, he wanted it because he wanted the new body, but now he doesn't, and I don't exactly know why. Maybe it's because he's scared of Dr. Stein, or he's worried that like he's going to suffer reprimands.
Possibly, yeah.
Probably. Dr. Stein is pretty cold-blooded too, so maybe he's thinking if Stein gets his hands on him, he'll just end him, right? As a failed experiment.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
To me, this was like the
once
one
again,
part
fantastic
true
set
horror.
design though,
Oh yeah, it's great. I just thought this was
and even the
one
costume design.
true horror. Oh, I love the helmet.
Mhm. Oh,
But I mean, finally, we get a murdered girl, and I was like, wow, this is actually real horror here. Like real horror.
and way to go for the dude too. Like, way to stand up for your woman, bro. Like, fuck.
The guy was a soy boy, totally.
Well, and
That's the way I saw
100% because he was just like, oh, dude, he wanted some action, and he was a little too innocent for that.
Right.
Yeah, I felt sorry for the girl. I mean, she made a mistake going out with a guy for a little bit of romance, and she ends up being murdered. It's like, well, that's a bad evening,
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, you're probably you're at the pearly gates on what happened to you. Oh, there it is. Come on in. Then here, Carl makes a scene.
He does make quite an entrance. Actually, this reminds me of another film that came after this, but I won't mention it now. I'll talk about it later after we finish watching this one. But there was definitely echoes of another film in this ending sequence here.
Poor guy.
Now, is the way he's holding his arms up from being injured, or is that from brain damage?
I think it's brain damage. And of course, Dr. Frankenstein trying to act like he doesn't know what's going on or who he is. And the poor guy is completely alone.
And it looks like that Nemesis has stepped out. Either he was on his phone or he was on his computer.
He might have lost his connection. He usually ends up rejoining eventually, I think.
Who, me?
No, Nemesis. Nemesis disappeared.
Oh. Yep.
Maybe he's having a technical problem.
It's possible. You definitely, obviously, welcome back.
There he is.
And there he is. Welcome back, Nemesis.
Wait, he is gone? Hey-o.
Hey-oh. You're lucky you're cute, Gorilla.
Oh,
I
how
know,
funny.
I got told by the buck today.
He's cute and furry too.
Well, that giggle of his is adorable.
It is good. Yes.
Oh no, he's lost his patience.
Yep.
Secret's out.
But he's still smart
Oh yeah,
about it. It's
definitely.
very interesting. It's just like, and I think that's getting to the whole point of like back when people were like, well, why would you name yourself Stein? And it's just like, well, it's a pretty generic name now, isn't it? There are thousands of Steins around. I could be anyone. And he's like, of course I've heard of Baron von Frankenstein, but I am not him, of course. I'm just a different Stein. From Poland. And they're like, okay, yeah, totally. That's legit, 100%. And then here they go.
Well,
Go ahead, Gorilla.
a couple times in this movie, he's saying how common the name Frankenstein is, but how common can it really be? In Europe,
I don't know. Maybe it was way more common back then.
So Frankenstein is
Well,
a German
apparently-
name.
Well, and anything Steen is going to be popular, right? Like it's like apparently the name Weinstein is as a very common surname.
And of course, they're afraid for him to touch them.
You know, it's kind of funny how he chose the name Steen because in German it means stone or rock. And he is stubborn in the movie. So hence the name Steen, too.
True.
Hmm. And here we go. The mob turns, and it's terrifying. All right, like look at how quick that goes. Like it went from like it only took one dude to hit him, and everyone jumped in. And the assistant was like, "What?" Like, because if you jumped in and tried to help them, you'd be beaten to death too. They'd kill you without a second thought.
Oh, absolutely.
Just
Yeah,
vicious
absolutely.
animals.
Well, so much for grateful patience, eh?
Well, I mean, we've seen him forcefully take people's arms. We don't know what else he's done, but the whole point of having the sick, poor hospital is that that's where he's getting his body parts from.
Oh yeah, but I would hope he's probably cured a couple of people, somewhere along the months, right?
Oh, yeah, he would have had to, otherwise the jig would have been up, right? They'd be like, oh, he helps all these people, and they keep, like, leaving mutilated and horrible, so...
Exactly, yeah. He doesn't look very good here, does he?
No, I'm amazed he's even still cognitive and functional, because once again, this makes me question, though, because we've seen the whole premise of these last two movies is that a damaged brain is a bad thing in a body, and to me, it looks like he took a lot of head trauma.
Yeah. Well, oh God, is that his brain? I can't.
Well, I mean,
remember for
that's
sure.
his brain, totally.
It looks kind of smushed up, actually.
Yeah, it looks pretty bloodied.
So,
And I
what
believe
happens
that's not his
here-
brain, though. That's the brain from the other body.
So he puts a different body into Frankenstein's, but Frankenstein's body is like busted apart. So
Yeah, no, he takes Frankenstein's brain and puts it in a new body.
puts it in the other body in the tank. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember now. Yeah. But then,
And
one thing
surprisingly,
puzzled me. Doesn't the body end up looking exactly like Frankenstein? So I'm a little bit confused about that.
No, it doesn't. Well, I was very happy about the ending reveal of who the new actor was.
Okay, you can point it out to me when we get there.
Oh,
If you
I
don't
will.
mind.
I will gladly. And I mean, at least at this time, he had a trustworthy apprentice, right? Like,
True.
This is true. Yes, this he does seem like an honorable man, even though if he likes to delve into the black arts in a way.
oh, totally. Well, not even that, right? Like, he's going along with the ruse. Like, he's like, look, guys, here's his body. I tried my best. They beat him to death. Like, and they're like, all right, we have to take him to unhallowed ground. Meanwhile, he has, well, we'll get the reveal here in a second, but he basically did exactly what Frankenstein did and creates brand new life.
He's been a good student.
Yeah.
yeah. And then he has for God's blessing to carry on his procedure. There it is.
Yeah, pray heavens, I've got the skills to do this. So yeah, sorry, I guess I've been spoiling the whole rest of the movie. My apologies, everyone. We hadn't quite got to that
Oh
final
no, you're
reveal.
fine. No, you're fine.
Dr. Frank.
Oh,
There's that
how
same arm
so
again, of course, that belonged to the pickpocket.
It's a bit ironic, isn't it? This ending.
And so do you know who that is, PvP?
I thought it looked a lot like Frankenstein, but it's a
It's
different
Peter
actor.
Cushing.
Oh, okay.
No,
I guess-
it's
so we-
Vincent Price.
What?
Is that not Vincent Price?
No.
Doesn't look like Vincent Price to me.
It's Peter Cushing.
No, my apologies. That's a
So
different
what
movie.
happened? I mean, how did they? I mean, because he was playing Frankenstein the whole movie, was he not? Like, or am I getting totally? Yeah, wasn't Peter Cushing in the whole film?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, no, Peter was in the whole film. So
So
now I'm
this is-
very much confused because
Since his face got all beat to hell and he was, basically, smashed beyond repair, then how come he looks really good here? I'm
Possibly.
confused.
well, yeah, okay, because no, I was genuinely had other thoughts on that it was a different actor. So I don't understand because like,
Yeah, that
did he do facial reconstruction surgery? Did he like? Because
But how
his whole
could
thing
he?
was like, Hans, you know what to do, and it's like he leaves it very vague. So
How could he though? When they were going to bury the corpse in unhallowed ground quite soon after, like he wouldn't have time to do reconstruction surgery, would he? Like,
no, he. Pop, do you have an answer to this?
yeah, somebody please have an answer because I'm very confused at that ending.
Right?
But-
I mean, it might be the cannabis, but I'm not. A good stoner doesn't blame that. I'm blaming me.
Well, it's probably not vague for a reason. I mean, if you think about it logically, the only logical explanation would be either a face transplant surgery or plastic surgery. But in that time period, they did not have the skill or the tech to do that, though.
And he wouldn't
Right,
have
they
the
did
time to
not.
do it because the authorities were going to bury the corpse like I had assumed by the next day at the very latest, right? So I don't know.
Right.
Well, yeah,
love the
they were,
film, but
if
that
not
ending-
immediately.
I love the
Yeah,
film. I
well-
thought it's a great film, but that ending is like what the f? Like I was totally puzzled.
Maybe what they're doing is what they're showing is that the body was damaged from being beaten by the patients, but maybe he salvaged the head.
But then there's
And
the
the arm.
arm.
But
So,
wouldn't
like, did they just
And the arm.
did they cut Carl's head off and put Peter Cushing's head on him?
I think so.
Because like
Or-
we see the brain and we see him carrying the brain, but there's no head, and his head would have been mangled. His head
Well,
was mangled.
Remember, the arm had the tattoo from the guy in the poor ward. So which guy
Yeah.
had that arm? Like,
Right.
I'm trying to remember
Right.
now.
The pickpocket.
Frankenstein,
The pickpocket.
the pickpocket who eventually got put onto Carl's new body, who they ended up
Right.
killing.
So did
So
he
they put
put his head onto Carl's body? No, that can't be right.
I think the
I'm ba-
body is
I'm
supposed to
baffled.
be. I think the body. I'm not sure specifically which body, but I think the body is supposed to be stitched up of different pieces. I think it's supposed to be the head of Frankenstein, Doctor Frankenstein, and it's the arm of the thief, the pickpocket.
Right.
So I think essentially it's made up of different pieces. But now it's a success
okay.
apparently because they're showing that he's intelligent. But I think also time has passed, and that's why his hair is grown and he has the mustache and all that stuff. I
Oh,
could
and
be
you know
wrong.
what?
You
Yeah,
sure look
because
good though, because you look
um,
really mangled for a while
you know
there.
what? Pop might be onto something
Well, that's
too.
why I think time passed.
Yeah, maybe a few months or a few weeks passed at least, and probably during that time frame, for Frankenstein's now as the monster, his apprentice probably did had enough time to try to go off by his memory or something and do very experimental, probably in their time, experimental plastic surgery on the monster's face and try to reconstruct Frankenstein's face that way in the few weeks or time skip that happened there.
Well,
That's
that's a
possible.
possibility. Definitely a good point. Because I would think if he had several months to reconstruct Frankenstein's facial features, he could have basically, put the head on the body, got the body reanimated, got it back, to life and functioning properly, and then he could have just, spent several months reconstructing the facial features to make him look like he did previously before the beating. So actually, that's probably as good an explanation as anything, Dan.
I think so. I think that's probably what happened.
Yeah,
And
I was
And I
a
then
bit
want to remind
confused though.
everyone, if you haven't done so, please vote on the poll in the chat.
Oh yeah.
We're going to go around and each of us are going to give our little reviews. And then afterwards, I'm
Well,
going to
for
close
sure,
the
right? Because
poll and then
like
change.
he would have known that because Dr. Frankenstein would have known that it's going to take several weeks to heal and get properly known, or to get back up to the.
You okay there, Nemesis? You dropped out, it sounds like.
I think maybe you might have dropped out a
I
minute.
think he lost his mic or something.
or his connection turned off for a second.
He'll be
Well,
back.
we'll see if he
He'll be
disappears
back.
again.
But for everyone in the chat, if you haven't done so, please consider voting. And there he is. He's gonna.
Yeah, he's
He
gone.
probably dropped out. He'll be back. Unfortunately, we need to get Nemesis a computer. The poor guy. He's having to do all this from a telephone.
Is he still?
So
Oh, jeez.
yeah, he needs a phone. I mean, at least like a basic laptop,
Yeah, that's
something
been
like
months
that.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, the poor guy. But if you haven't done so, consider voting in the chat. Let us know what you think about the movie or what you think about our coverage of the movie. And then I will share that with the rest of everyone else. There he is. Welcome back.
Hi, yeah, silly internet,
Hello,
I
hello.
tell you.
So
We
you
need to get
so you were
you a
trying to
computer.
say
Yeah, just the fact that Frankenstein would have known that it's going to take months and months to rest and recover, whereas Carl didn't know that. He escaped before he had any chance to get a full recovery. So even in that time, if the head was fully assimilated and if all the other body parts were fully assimilated from other people, then it shows that the immune system is working, and so he should be healing by now. So even if there was no facial reconstruction surgery, they would just have enough time for the body to heal in itself, right? Like, yeah, his eye was swollen and whatnot, but it's not like, now that I'm like looking back at the footage, like he's beaten but not like mangled,
Destroyed.
right? So
Right, he could have healed, right?
So in a couple
Yeah.
months, the swelling would go down and he'd resemble his old self in like 2 or 3 months, probably.
yes, I think that's what happened.
That makes sense. I'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start with, I usually go clockwise, and I know it's late for Gorilla. So, Gorilla, but tell us, what do you think about this movie, and tell us about your channel.
Let's see, I gave it a B there. I think the title is very misleading there. I know it said Revenge of Frankenstein, there, but I think the better title would have been like Frankenstein 2, He's Back, or Frankenstein
Or the return of.
2, the Return of Frankenstein there. But it just seemed like it was almost like not like a shot for shot repeat, but it seemed like it repeated a lot of the first movie there.
Uh-huh.
So I'll give it a B plus.
All right. Well, tell us about your channel, please.
Well, I got a few live streams coming up tomorrow. We're watching two more. We're finishing up season 4 of Justified. Then
Cool.
on Thursday there for Cringe Stock, we are watching Ghostbusters 2016 with Melissa McCarthy. Ugh.
Everyone's
And-
favorite. And
I'm
don't forget
so looking
Godzilla
forward to that. That'll be
Yeah.
and
great.
Godzilla.
And Friday
Bigfoot.
we're reviewing the Waltons episode of The Thoroughbred. From what I remember, that was a really good episode there, and that's actually like our flagship show right there. It's really come together nicely. If you've seen like the first few of them, there we're trying to figure out what was going on, and with PvP coming on, it's really became really good. I think a pretty good review of the show.
Oh, thank you.
I think you and Jerb helped add a lot to the show there. And now I'm starting to I've figured out how to get by with the copyright stuff there. So
Awesome.
Saturday we were reviewing the movie Megan from 2021. If you want to join us on the panel, just please watch the movie ahead of time. Then on Sunday, PvP, we gotta discuss what time we're gonna be doing the Two Towers.
Yeah, we should start early if we're doing the extended version, right,
Yeah.
Gorilla? So, I mean, generally, I'm pretty much free on Sunday afternoons because the only thing on Sundays usually, Jill and I do my Man from Uncle Avengers watch party, but that's usually from like 10 in the morning Pacific till maybe 1 o'clock in the afternoon, my time Pacific wise. So, if you want to schedule something like around the middle of Sunday afternoon, that probably works totally fine.
Yeah, that's a post-production topic though. Then I'm gonna try to get a few more shorts out, but I don't know. I'm still trying to. I got some stuff lined up. I just don't know how I'm gonna go about it yet. That's
Very
about
cool.
it.
All right. And check out his shorts as well. He's got some very entertaining shorts on his channel. And let's see here. How about Sci-Fi Sit Dan? What do you think about the movie? And tell us about your channel.
I would give this movie a B plus. The pacing of the movie was kind of slow in some parts. So that's kind of what dragged me down. And just like you said a few minutes ago, I am a part of the younger generation, so I am expecting a little more action-paced plot. But this is a horror movie, so it is going to be a slow burn based type of movie. And the acting was pretty good. Let's see here. Peter Cushing was pretty good too. And beyond that, that's all I have to say about the movie. On my channel, I usually cover sci-fi TV shows, movies, and other types of TV shows or movies, depending how far down of knowledge I am with those. I usually do my live streams, which Gorilla probably wouldn't know this, around his time too. I usually do it between 6 and 4 Pacific time on Saturdays. If any of your panelists are available or want to join in or stay in the chat, I'm like the company instead of just talking to myself like a madman in my live streams. Beyond that, that's all I have
Yeah,
to
it definitely
say.
helps when you have someone to talk to. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's the only I'd come on, but you have them on the same time that we're reviewing a movie. So we kind of hard to
Okay,
be
is
in
that-
two places at once.
Is that
we
it,
could-
Dan?
Or yes, I mean, or we could overlap our streams, Gorilla, do 2 at the same time.
True.
Yeah, that'd be too hard.
All right. And now, PPP would say, what would you say about this movie?
I really like this movie. I give it a solid B plus. I actually didn't think of this so much as a horror movie because there was, of course, horror elements like brains and eyeballs and all that kind of weird stuff, which were great fun. But overall, I thought of it as more of a straight dramatic film because I really felt for the Frankenstein guy played by Michael Gwynn, and that was the most fun I had from the movie because I just thought his performance was excellent, and I kind of thought he stole the film. Really, I thought he actually kind of stole the film away. From Peter Cushing. So yeah, I really liked his performance, and I just quickly looked up his career, and he did a few other movies. He did like about 30 something movies in his career.
Cool.
Yeah, he did. Well, here's ones you guys might recognize: Village of the Damned. He was in that, and he was in a certain film called Cleopatra. Might have been a bomb, but he was in that.
Yep. Yep.
And one of my favorite Ray Harryhausen films from 1963, he was in Jason and the Argonauts, which, it's like, wow, that's one of my favorite films of all time. So
That's a great movie. Yes.
yeah, so the guy, he got around, did some good stuff. So, give the guy credit. I think he was really excellent in this film.
Very cool. Is there anything you'd like to share about your channel?
I just do my music playlists. Haven't done much lately because I've been having some technical issues with some modems and stuff, which I won't go into because everybody will be bored by that. But hopefully, in the next week or two, I'll work on some more playlists because I got tons of material. It's just like I got to edit it and organize it and cut it down to a manageable level because if you got like 200 songs, you don't want to put a playlist with 200 songs and bore the hell out of people, right? I try and keep it to like 25 songs. So I'm going to have to do a lot of editing because there's some bands I'll definitely just I'll just delete them because I don't think they're all that good. But then there's a lot of good stuff. So stay tuned. As I always say, maybe in the next week or two, I'll have some new playlists up for you guys.
Very cool. Thank you. I appreciate you being here tonight, PvP.
I always have a great time on your streams, Pop. So thanks so much for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. Nemesis of Eden, what say you? Hopefully,
it usually helps if I turn my mute off. This movie was okay. Pretty boring. Especially compared to any of the other Hammer horror films that we've watched so far. The music wasn't as bombastic as it was in some of the previous Dracula films that we've watched. The story was interesting. I really liked the special effects when it came to like the laboratory scene with the eyeballs and the hand. Of course, the acting was fantastic. Like, you can't go wrong with basically any of the actors. But really, I mean, I've watched it. I don't think I'm going to rewatch it. I was going to give it a C. Talking and discussing it with you guys has certainly made this better. So I'll give it a B-. But yeah, it's certainly not one that I'm going to throw on. And I would agree the title is kind of a misrepresentation. I don't see any revenge in this movie of Frankenstein, really, right? Like, it's like Frankenstein 2, Electric Boogaloo, something like that. Like, I don't know, like, but all in all, yeah, like, watch it once. I don't think I'm going to watch it again. And I would say that for everyone else. And so when it comes to my channel, I've been doing Skullgirls Mobile, which is sexy girls fighting and pop culture references. So if you're into that, there's all different kinds of variations, lots of different gameplay for that. And then I've been doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. So if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or card games, definitely check that out. And I would love to have you on my channel. And I just would like to say thank you so much to Pop Culture Curator, everyone else on the panel, PvP, Sci-fi Sit There, and Gorilla, who is no longer with us, or he might be. I don't even remember anymore.
I'm still here.
Oh, it's been so long. I'm so sorry.
With us. Yeah, that sounds ominous.
I know. I've been up on the grandstand too long. But anyways, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Anyone in the chat, thank you so much to being here. Anyone in the rerun, thank you. You're champions if you made it this far. Don't forget to like and subscribe to everyone. around pop culture, myself, everyone. And yes, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you, Nemesis. I appreciate you being here, buddy.
Yeah, of course. And thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad you're doing it. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Anytime. And did you tell us about your channel?
I did, yes.
Okay. Nothing. Okay. Got it. We want to make sure you covered everything. Thank you.
And can I say something? Look, actually, the title is not really misleading because when you think about it, what after the mob almost murders him and all that, and he's transferred into the monster's body, and the time skip happens, he did get his revenge because he escaped the mob and the scientists that were after him. So that, in a way, it was his revenge. He escaped their grasp.
Oh, that's
Yes,
one
by
way of looking at it.
by putting on a monocle and growing a mustache. Got him good.
By the way, Pop, don't forget we got the poll still in the chat here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to give it a B, or I'll say B plus. I enjoyed it. Of course, Peter Cushing, I love him. It's done with style. It's done with class. It was interesting to see a different take on the Frankenstein monster, because the fact that he was acting more like a victim than he was a monster. He tried his best. Unfortunately, he was a victim of circumstance. The cast was amazing, and I can't wait to see the next one and see how it turns out. I've seen it before, but it doesn't matter. I can't wait to see it again. And as far as my channel is concerned, tomorrow we should be back with 2 more episodes of Gilligan's Island from season 3. That will be at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Saturday we'll be back at 6 p.m. Mountain Time with Rumblings from the Lab. Next Monday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time with another classic episode of Lost in Space. And we've got to discuss, I need to get with my good friend Nemesis and figure out what movie we're going to show next for our next horror sci-fi stream. And
What's the Lost in Space 2 weeks, Pop?
2 weeks Lost in Space. Yes, thank you. That's right.
Yeah.
So no Lost in Space. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, did you cancel last Monday's Lost in Space for a Rumblings from the Lab, or did you reschedule it?
No, rescheduled next week because one of the panel members is not able to make it. So we've decided that we'll wait. So next week we're going to have a special Rumblings from the Lab Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. And then we will return with Lost in Space the following week. And I want to thank everybody once again. It really means a lot to me, everybody in the chat who's been here. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll. And while I get that ready, Gorilla, can you help me finish up the chat?
Yeah.
I know it's late. I'm sorry, buddy.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we got a lot.
Edge of Time says, Carl, that kills people. And Suzanne says, I felt bad for the creature being so childlike.
Yes, he was a victim. He wasn't a monster.
Yeah, I agree, Suzanne.
He tried,
I felt so bad for him. Yeah.
Yeah, Suzanne or Edge of Time says, what would you say Carl craves a proper human diet?
Possible.
Hey-o. Do Campbells consider the homeless free range?
Oh, no.
I consider that low quality meat. Run the risk of disease with that one.
That's the
hitchhiker.
Yeah, the hitchhikers are the free range.
There you go.
Oh, that's
I thought they were the roadkill.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And Edge of Time says people make Carl sick. Maybe he should stop eating them.
Oh, yeah, that might help, right?
Yeah. And LDD says, I'd like to hear about brain damage from someone experienced. What do you think, Gorilla? Funny story though. I've actually probably have suffered brain damage. And Edge of Time says, oof. LDG LOL. And LDG got something out of Cody guy here. He's laughing. And XT means cornerstone. Cool, Suzanne.
Oh, okay, cool.
Cody. Suzanne says, Devin says, cheers, my fellow Blazer.
Cheers,
Absolutely.
Suzanne.
Yeah, I'd like to see I'd like to take the head of a gorilla and put it on an actual gorilla.
Oh, that'd be
Advertise
interesting.
that it's the angle of the mangle. It's a super upgrade. And Suzanne says, I will start making content when I get a laptop. Okay.
Oh, that sounds like a good idea, Suzanne. I can't wait.
Cool.
And Sean says, I miss the smell of my dead wife cooking, but after a few beers, she didn't taste half bad. Oh my God. Oh my.
Wow. Wow, that's dark. That's dark, Edge.
That's about as dark as my joke on Question of Trek on Sunday. There, where I got the entire panel and go, wow. Yeah, the question, what was the name of or what ship was Jordy's mother on? I said I put it in the USS Boeing because the airlock fell off.
Hey,
Hey, speaking of Boeing, did you know that they're starting to let you have screwdrivers and drills on the planes now, so you can help with maintenance?
I heard something about that.
You're
Yeah.
kidding. They're going to have passengers doing maintenance?
No, it's a joke.
Yeah, because let's
Yeah.
see, in the
Good.
because in the last 2 months they've had 2 doors fall off, and they have also had a wheel fall off. I think they had some landing gear get stuck.
Well, you know, Boeing is based in Seattle, Washington, I believe, still, right? And there used to be a Seattle comedy show on Saturday nights called Almost Live that ran for 30 minutes every week. And one of their favorite targets of humor, ridicule, was how Boeing would keep screwing up, making technical errors, you know, having their planes like just be unflyable. And
Right.
I mean, this was like decades ago, but it was a lot of really hilarious stuff against Boeing because the show actually really hated Boeing. And from what I've heard, it was well deserved because Boeing was kind of a, you know, F up kind of organization. So I'll leave it at there.
And LDD says, I've been through gorilla shorts. Trust me, they are better than it sounds. Oh, well, thank you. And Bravo says, hey, all looks like I was able to catch the real end. Hope you enjoyed the reviewing the film.
Hey,
Yeah, it
welcome
was.
back, Brad.
hey,
Very
Brad.
cool.
Yeah. And Edgy Time says, it's no Village People of the Damned.
No, it's not.
And Suzanne says, peace out, everyone. Thanks for the
Oh, the channel.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
Have a nice evening,
Night, Suzanne.
Have a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Suzanne, for coming by.
Yeah. And Edgy Time says, Mr. Monopoly smokes them again. Yeah, should probably avoid eating clowns. They taste funny. All right, we're all caught up.
All right, thank you. And now we're going to cover and show the results of our poll.
Did you
There we
review
go.
Pop?
And it looks like we got,
Oh yeah,
Yes,
you
I
did.
did.
Give it a B.
and it looks like we got 15 votes. What grade would you give the Revenge of Frankenstein? It looks like we got a B plus, B minus got a 53%. A plus to A minus got a 26%. C plus to C minus got a 20%. And D plus to F minus got 0, which is good. So nobody absolutely hated it, which is a good
I
thing.
forgot to vote.
Oh, except for Gorilla. I should have known.
No, you didn't give that automatic F, Gorilla?
I forgot to vote.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
happy
happened.
with that. That's really good. Like I thought a lot of us were going for the B category, and it's like, yeah, I'm happy with that result.
Well, it seemed kind of repetitive. Was
Yeah.
and the title was, I thought after we thought Frankenstein got executed there, he's gonna come back and attack all the, like, make a monster specifically for revenge. You're not hey, let's try this again.
That would have been cool, actually.
Right.
Actually, I remember mentioning the beginning with the guillotine, and we never got back to that because I was thinking, okay, he probably paid off the executioner, and there was a scene, wasn't there, where the grave diggers opened a grave and it had the head of a priest or something in it.
Yeah, so there was that. It's implied that the priest at the ceremony was the one who got forcibly executed instead of Dr.
Exactly.
Frankenstein.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Frank paid off the executioner, and the priest was like, "Are you kidding me?" It's like, "Nope, we're not." Shh, boosh, your head's
Maybe that
gone.
was his revenge.
Well, that could have actually. That might make sense, actually.
Yeah,
Wow.
but then that should have been more clear.
Well, it wasn't clear,
Possibly,
but
yeah.
we figured it out anyway, so that's all good, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope everybody had a wonderful time tonight. Especially thank you all to my good friends on the panel. Appreciate you guys sticking with me. I know it's been kind of a long night here. I was trying to get through it relatively quickly, but I hope you all enjoyed yourselves. And like I said, next week we will not have lost in space, but we will return the following week. And is there anything any of you would like to say before we close it out?
Just try to stay alive and healthy, Pops.
I'm just
Oh
wondering
yeah,
what's
I will do my best.
what's the next sci-fi horror stream on next Tuesday, if there is one.
I'm not sure yet.
Pops and I will talk about it.
Okay, I'll just put it in the community or whatever, guys. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, it will come out
Yeah.
with a title here in the next couple of days.
Tell me,
Sounds good.
do you guys review Alien as a horror movie yet on this channel or not?
Not Alien, no, not yet.
Hmm.
But it doesn't mean we're not going to. But yeah, we definitely will.
Is that horror sci-fi or is that mainly horror based though?
I'd say horror sci-fi.
And that could be an idea for you and Nemesis to bring up.
Oh yeah, we talked about it before.
Well, isn't there usually a cycle you guys go through? Like you'll do Frankenstein and you'll do Dracula and you'll do other movies. I mean, I can't remember the cycle, but you guys have a set cycle, do you not? I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like a schedule. Yes, once a week it'll be a different theme.
That seems to work quite well. So I'll go with whatever you guys.
So far, so good. I haven't got too many complaints. But thank you all, everybody. Thank you. Like I said, once again, everybody in the chat, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I know your time is valuable, and thank you for being here. And especially my good friends on the panel. Hopefully, if you could join us tomorrow night for Gilligan's Island, that would be terrific. We'll be back with 2 more episodes of that. And with that, have a great night, everybody. Stay warm. If you work tomorrow, drive safe. I'm hoping everybody has tomorrow off. But I know we're not so lucky. So thank you. And like I said, it really means a lot to me. Good night, everybody.
Good night.